They hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Starting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far. Everybody else, I had to set them straight. Yeah, I had to ball, so I had to renovate. I know they hate when you elevate. They stacking up losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight.
All right. What's goody? ATP, what's goody? Yeah, we back at it. Round of applause for you guys. Back at you. Yeah, we back for that building session. Damn right, SOB. Damn right. We are definitely back. We are definitely back at it, man. Salute to you guys. Running late today, running around, errands to run today, man. Crazy day. But, we're going to make it on here and build. Probably just tagging on to the back end of yesterday's conversation. Yesterday was a crazy day. A lot of duck sauce, whole lot of duck sauce. A lot of people want of boxing. The politics of boxing is doing what it does, right? Getting in the way of the big fights getting made. And us as fans, we sitting here on the sideline like some children watching our parents argue, and we just on the side wondering, is it our fault? Did we do something to make it like this? I think we share some of the the blame a little bit. We have been a little bit tolerant in the past couple of years with the fights we've allowed to happen. And, maybe we've spoiled these fighters a little bit, but we'll talk about that for sure. Let me do a little roll call for everybody who is in the building right now. I'm expecting anybody to creep in. I know how that works, right? I understand how that works, especially this time of day. A lot of people are running their lives as well. Salute to Teach in the building. If Teach is still here, on time, unlike yours truly, right? Salute to me, Claymore Rain. Salute to SOB. We're definitely gonna be building today. Shout out to 2 Cents. Des 22. Salute to you. Champ Ross, grassroots Champ Ross in the building, man. A minute, and of course Donnie, the OG. Salute to with all you guys, right? Yep. Salute to the wife in the building as well. The wife is in the building as well. You know what I mean? Did you? Oh, you know what, Champ? I think I saw it, man. I'm gonna respond to it, man. That sounds like fun. I'm not gonna even lie to you. That sounds like fun, man. The little what are we gonna call it? I can't remember the word, but I don't want to say gambling, but it looks like fun. It looks like fun for sure. Salute to Fly Frequency in the building. Yeah, man, guys, man. Listen, man, the duck season is serious. Everybody wants to take their opportunities. They want to capitalize, build their market value. And unfortunately, what does that leave us, right? What does that leave us in the conversation? Yesterday, some news also came out about Elvis Rodriguez and how he's moving past Sabriel Matias as well. His excuse is that Sabriel's not deserving of it. We'll talk about that too as well, right? Like, is he deserving of it? Is he not deserving? Like, what's really the big deal where Elvis Rodriguez is? Let's talk about where he is, where he's trying to be, and where Sabriel Matias is as well. Listen, some fighters just high risk, very low reward, and Sabriel Matias without an actual title is not a fighter. Clearly, is not a fighter you just want to jump in the ring with. We'll talk about that as well. Teofimo also continuing to throw shots. We'll talk a little bit about that interview he did yesterday with Nestor Gibbs as well over there at Boxing Voice. Interesting interview, throwing shots at Kambosos, PED accusations, saying that he avoided Nevada testing, and it sounds like he was trying to attribute the loss he got with Kambosos to Kambosos cheating, right? Using performance enhancement drugs. More excuses, but where does that leave Teo? Is Teo just continuing to double down, triple down, quadruple down on his stance on what's going on in the boxing space? I'm not hearing too much positive energy coming from the fan base, the boxing space in general. I don't hear the support he probably is looking to have, but we're going to talk about that as well. Salute to Mr. Big Play Bray. Salute Ross Spot in the building. You see your favorite fighters of the bump in the building. We're going to build, you know what I'm saying? I also want to add to this David Benavidez conversation. Guys, this David Benavidez fight coming up with David Morell, it's must see boxing and must talk boxing. So I feel like we're going to be talking about a lot until that actual fight happens. David Morell recently did an interview with Sean Zeitel. You know, Sean Zeitel dropping pieces of interview at a time, but dropped the complete interview where David Benavidez is talking how he's more motivated than he's ever been, in the best shape of his life. Listen, we saw how he looked in that standoff they had in that little promo when he had that dad bod on there, but he looks like he's slimming down, looks like he's getting real shape. David Benavidez taking this very seriously. So probably a lot of adjustments that we're talking about seeing, we probably are going to see. He references his history of sparring some of the best fighters that were out at the time when he was in his youngest 16, 17-year-old age, and how he also brings that experience to the ring as well. So having to adjust, I'm sure, against sparring a Dimitri Bivol, right? Fighters of that caliber. And maybe I'm starting to wonder and feel like maybe we will see these adjustments. This will be an opportunity for David Benavidez to show us a lot of different things. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about what we're going to see on that night. Salute to 8 in the building. Salute, King. And we got a new announcement as well on the Keyshawn Davis undercard. Man, that undercard is coming together real good. We got a real nice announcement that just came out. Xander Zayas making his return for 2025, return to the ring, continuing off the momentum he built for himself in 2024. In 2025, he'll be on this huge undercard in New York, big Puerto Rican following. So he's going to have a lot of fans in the building. Xander Zayas is a definite big prospect at the 154 weight class division. This close to potentially being the guy that was going to go ahead and fight Virgil Ortiz to replace Israel Madrimov. Not Israel Madrimov, sorry, to replace what's my guy's name? Jerron Boots Ennis, right? He was this close to being in the big show. Bob Arum got in front of that. Good move, bad move. I think that was probably a good move, right? Like, the kid has a lot of time. He's really young, building up his reputation. Maybe he didn't need to be on such a big stage and put it all on the line against a well-tenured, experienced fighter like Virgil Ortiz, but he was definitely ready to do it. But the next best thing for him probably is to get on this card right here, right? This Keyshawn Davis card on ESPN. This is going to be a big fight for Keyshawn Davis. He's going to get a whole lot of eyes on him, and we'll talk about what that's going to look like as well, what we're expecting to see there. You know what I mean? In the face-offs, Fat Baez is always looking like blubber. He won't at the weigh-in. 100% Ross Kai. He looks like he's in great shape right now. I'll be honest with you. Right now, he looks like he's in great shape. He's super motivated. His wife is expecting another child. He already has his daughter and his son. Look, he has a whole lot of motivation. He got a whole lot of things that are motivating him right now. And this adds to the energy of this fight, right? David Morell, what is motivating David Morell? You know what I mean? Outside of just beating David Benavidez up, what's going to hold David Morell up if he's ever behind, or if he's down, or if he's starting to get frustrated? David Benavidez seems like he has a lot more to focus on. That may get him to the promised land if it does get tough. More of a story added to this fight based off that, right? So it is what it is. But let's go ahead and move through the topics a little bit so we can get to the open panel and we can see what you guys are thinking about. Man, David Benavidez, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Since we're on David Benavidez, let's talk about David Benavidez being more motivated than he's ever been. What does that mean, to be more motivated than you've ever been? I don't know. Like, what does that mean? What does that look like for David Benavidez? He's always been such a dominant force in the boxing space, the way he approaches the game, the performances he puts on, but he seems to be separating this one particular opportunity here from the rest of his career. And I'm trying to really see what that looks like in the ring. What are we about to see from David Benavidez? Is without a doubt, he's getting confronted with his biggest potentially, right? I remember Terrence Crawford said he really doesn't know if the fighter that's across the ring from him is going to be his hardest test until he fights him, because he's been in the ring with the guy who he thought was going to be the easiest fight, and it turned out to be his hardest fight, and then vice versa. You know, you've seen him against Errol Spence. Everybody thought that was going to be his most uphill battle, and he made that look pretty easy. So David Benavidez seemingly looking at David Morell to be the best version of himself, right? Going to see the best version of David Morell, and if the best version of David Morell comes into that ring, what is David Benavidez prepared to do in order to make sure that no matter what, he's ready for whatever it is, and at the end of the day, he wants his hand raised in that ring? I think it's going to be, look at Big Herm saying David getting slept. One of them is getting slept for sure. I agree with you. There's definitely going to be a David. We don't know if somebody's going to get slept. It can go to decision, but I think there's a high probability somebody is going to get stopped in this fight. I think there's going to be a high probability, but what are we going to see David Benavidez improve on? That's going to be interesting for real, because could you imagine seeing David Benavidez footwork improving, right? And maybe he switch hitting a little bit, going from southpaw to orthodox, orthodox to southpaw and vice versa. Maybe we'll see him on his back foot a little bit, showing a little bit about boxing. Do we see him controlling the distance with that jab? You know what I mean? Forcing David Morell into some real complicated scenarios. What are we going to see from David? I'm interested in seeing what it is, because it's all or nothing for David Benavidez at this one. I'd say he's the guy who has the most to lose in this fight. He has the most on the table, right? He's built a huge reputation for himself. Canelo Alvarez, you know, arguably ducking David Benavidez, the monster. This is what the history books are gonna show. As much as he called out Canelo Alvarez, Canelo Alvarez's approach, asking for 150 to 200 million dollars a fight. David Benavidez telling the world that all he brings on the night of fight is 25 extra pounds. He's built a reputation for himself to be a threatening figure in boxing, and earned himself already, according to Turki Al-Sheikh and inside sources, that he was next in line to fight the winner between Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol. In so many words, he didn't need to fight David Morell, keeping in mind that PBC had already coordinated a fight between him and Jesse Hart, right? He gets that, but he says, no, I want the biggest challenge. He does something that we all could tell he didn't have to do. If it wasn't for him, this fight doesn't get made. He has the people reach out, put David Morell in the ring with him. He has a lot to prove, clearly. No matter what people think, he has a lot to prove. He wants to go ahead and put down all the rumors, and David Morell obviously happy to oblige. I think it's going to be crazy to see David Benavidez moving around the ring and boxing way better than he has in the past. We know what we're expecting of him, but should we expect the unexpected for David Benavidez, or is he just who he is? Is he in many ways a one-dimensional fighter, right? He might be a one-dimensional fighter, right? I mean, because I'm still in the air about the version of him that we're used to being stylistically just completely the perfect matchup for David Morell, an opportunity for David Morell to actually show improve and really step his own status up by doing something crazy to David Benavidez. You know what I mean? So, guys, I'm definitely looking at that, definitely trying to see what that's going to look like on the ring on February 1st, right? What we got going on here? What we got going on here in the chat? If Morell doesn't fold in late rounds like the rest, let me pull it up. If Morell doesn't fold in late rounds like the rest, Benavidez could be in trouble. That's a fact. And that's, I mean, we got to take that into the thought process, because we don't know what David Morell is capable of when he gets challenged. Now, we saw in the last fight that David Morell had against Hot Rod that he did show frustration in that fight. He wasn't really happy with the way Hot Rod approached the fight, but no matter how you want to look at it, he walked away with the win, right? And he did have to make some adjustments. He had to fall back on that amateur Cuban background that he has, and that was able to get him the win. He was able to win the fight, however you want to look at it. So he has shown some ability to make some adjustments, but people speak as if David Morell is this guy who has bad conditioning in the second half of the fights. I don't think I've ever seen him have issues with his conditioning. So if David Morell is able to keep that same energy and same pace or better yet, even slow down David Benavidez by hitting him with those power shots, being that threat in the ring that we know he's going to be. How's David Benavidez going to adjust to not being able to put out that volume punching that he's used to doing it without paying an ultimate cost? It's going to be crazy, right? Salute to everybody in the building. We got 34 people in here, 34 people in here. Let's make sure those likes are matching what's on there. Remember, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, definitely let's get the likes up, right? But let's go down this menu right here and go down to what's on the table, because David Benavidez, kind of that interview he put out there was an interesting interview. To myself, I said, man, I wonder what is he prepared to do in this fight, because I know he's running into the biggest challenge that he's in a long time. Salute to the co-host Ray Davis. I ran through the door and I was like, boom, 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 boom. I was already run late. I just sent the link. I was like, don't link, get set, man. It is what it is.
Cool.
How you, King?
Good, man. Good. You know, I worked a double last night, so that was
that's what's up. Did I wake you up?
No. I'm on the schedule, man. I'll be on the schedule, so I'm checking the email. I said, let me just browse one more time, and I go to YouTube, and I was like, play on.
Did you see the message I sent to your phone? The text?
No.
Okay. That being said,
you know,
yeah, you seen it, but you probably didn't see it before you seen the email. Anyway,
something like that.
Right. That being said, man, yeah, we was just building on this David Benavidez conversation, on this interview he had just recently, basically stating that this was the best version of himself right now, that this is the best shape he's ever been in. He's taking this fight super serious. You know, he refuses to die. You know what I mean? He can't lose. Talked about his motivation. He has a new daughter on the way. Yeah. His wife is pregnant. Obviously with his 2 kids that he has right now, he has a daughter, and obviously his son, and all the motivation he has going into this fight. And this is his destiny. I'm saying to myself, that's a great thing. And I don't know what's holding David Morell up, right? I don't know if he has some family, children, things that are motivating him outside of just beating up David Benavidez, and being a champion. But is it crazy? Can we see David Benavidez make some serious adjustments in this fight? Like, can he add layers to what he's doing? Or do you think we've seen like the best version of him? Like, is he just who he is, just a big forward moving, punching, volume puncher of a fighter? Or is there different facets of his fight game that we probably haven't seen? And I'm saying that in sense of all of the sparring he's done, supposedly, with all the great fighters he sparred against, the Dimitri Bivol, and you hear, and he said it in his interview as well, that he's always gotten the best of all those opponents. Well, you're in there with a bunch of different kind of fighters. It sounds like he's fought way more competitive fights in his sparring than he has in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Because he's fought all these champions. Do you think there's different facets to what he does that we just haven't been exposed to yet? So we look forward to seeing some adjustments?
The key thing here, Kelly, is something that you always say. Now, I heard you building on it, man. And let me tell you something. As I was prepping to come in, I'm listening. I'm like, man, David Benavidez is really a monster, right?
Right.
That's what he is. Only thing I can see, you creatures of habit, as you always said, but this is what I see changing with David Benavidez. The Tyson Fury policy, you know what I mean? Like, Tyson Fury, David Benavidez has always been a heavier fighter. So only thing I can see him changing is coming in heavy after the weigh-in. Coming in, believing that he can put all the pressure and withstand all the onslaughts that may be coming his way by putting weight on to counter everything Morell can throw his way. Using that extra weight to put more power in his punches as he throws back at Morell. Benavidez he's obviously a student of the game. Him having like I said, the talent enough just to be in there at his size to be able to throw the output of punches that he can says enough. It says the least, rather. There's nothing really to take away from it. That, like I said, he said it himself. His game plan is to drag David into deep waters. He said it, right? He didn't say I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna knock you out. No, I'm gonna drag you into deep waters, bro. I'm gonna make you suffer, right? That was what he said in his press conference, in his presser.
Now, he did recently also say that he's promising a knockout. He said specifically said this will be knockout of the year. That's what he said.
Well, you hear what he's saying, right?
Right.
Basically, you can put one and one together, right? So if I drag you to deep waters, and I know you got bad history. Well, we've seen him really twice go to the distance, but I'm gonna take you the distance, and you don't look well. Once you get past a certain round and you're heavier, oh yeah, we're gonna drag you. You're gonna get tired. Once you're tired and you walking around, here we go. Rocky 2, right? Rocky 3, right?
Right.
That guy behind you in Rocky 3, what happened to him? You know what I mean? He got dragged into deep waters, and Rocky had to take him out to chip as he punched himself out. So I think that's what Benavidez' plan is. Allow him to punch himself out, go to work, put that that machine, as he calls it, the hands into work in the later rounds, and just get the knockout that way. It's very possible for him to stop Morell. It's very possible to have this output. Now, he can surprise me and get on his toes and start, you know what I mean, dancing a little bit in the ring, give it a little Muhammad Ali or a little Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a good guy that can, what's his name? But, hey, once it depends if he can withstand the onslaught of Morell, especially the way we've seen him in the ring. That's going to be the catalyst of this fight. Right.
Okay, so I mean, look, it makes a little sense. I'm not going to lie, for him to put the size on. Pause. The reason I think, and I agree with you, that if he is trying to put him in the blender, which is what it sounds like he's trying to do, he's trying to put David Morell in the blender, overwhelm him, right? Overwhelm him with volume punching, but also power shots behind that, and also a high pace that's going to test his conditioning towards the second half of this fight. Now, let me ask you this though: if David Morell offers what we think he's probably going to offer, which is some real adversity in those early rounds, David Benavidez is probably going to have some size on him in order to weather what David Morell is going to send his way. Like, it's one thing to have that weight on you and push on David Morell, but another thing is absorbing the punishment that David Morell is very capable of putting out there, right? Can't this just work against David Benavidez as well? Like, this is uncharted region, right? For him to come in bigger than he's ever come in before, right? David Morell, I'm sure, has the same ability to go ahead and test his conditioning as well. If he makes a good body campaign, start to, work, put money in the bank, as Teddy Atlas would say, by attacking that body early, and you combine that with the fact that David Benavidez might come in even bigger, I mean, his conditioning may get tested for the first time. This could work out for David Morell as well. It just seems like David Morell's opportunity to win this fight is going to come in multiple different ways, because David Benavidez seems unwavered on being the aggressive, forward-coming, offensive fighter in this fight. He seems like he wants to be that guy. Well, David Morell's always been that guy, right? And I was watching some highlight reels. He's really good at those angles. He understands that math. He understands the dynamic of that. He hits on the angles. He moves. He knows how to step off the punches and, step off to the right and step off to the left and make these opportunities happen. Is this game plan going to work out if he works this out and comes in heavier like that? Is that what's going to happen?
He's going to try and attempt to. Here's the funny part. Like you said, I actually only see it one way. I think we see the spear jab from David Morell, because he likes that wide gate when he throws his jab, and he attacks the body with the uppercut. I see this already. He's going to use a lot of feints coming in with that backhand. You know what I mean? Instead of just throwing that jab all the time, but he will be using that spear jab. He will try to find David Benavidez. It's crazy they got the same names. But he will be trying to find him. He will be trying to put that jab out there to put his location on him, you know what I mean, as a radar detector. And he'll find that body, like, you know what I mean, with that right hand. And as he does so, it's up to David Morell to be able to move and be elusive, to do things that we never seen him do. Putting on weight is not also the salute, Sonny. Salute to everybody in the chat. I did see you earlier. Thank you. Appreciate it. But it's up to David Benavidez to weather that storm, as you just said, to be elusive, to be able to create from his defensive points. Now, if he comes out, which everything can change, and just starts throwing haymakers, it may offset the fight, offset the timing, offset the development of what they've been working on the Morell side in the gym. Mm-hmm. That could be something different that we see too. You know, instead of him setting up, waiting for this, we just seen that with the fight with Joe Apatow, right? And Nicky, whatever, right? They just did the same thing. They came out throwing blows. They didn't come out setting up, you know what I mean, getting comfortable, seeing what each other's going to do. No, they came out throwing shots. And it was something that everyone was waiting. Oh, they're going to start boxing soon. No, these guys went 4 rounds of haymakers, and it was something different. So we can see that same thing happening in this fight on the Benavidez side, something that we just never seen before, and change the whole complexity of the fight going early and making Morell have to readjust to something that he didn't even do in camp. That's a possibility as well.
Well, look, another factor in this fight, you know, I like to always involve the trainers in this conversation because I think they play a huge role in a fight like this. Stylistically, you got to look at Ronnie Shields and Jose Benavidez Sr. In this situation. And from what I understand, well, first of all, is Jose Benavidez Sr. still going to be the corner man here? Because there were issues supposedly with the training with who David Benavidez was going to work with. I'm assuming Sr. still in position, right? Well, that being said, Ronnie Shields. So Ronnie Shields, one of the vets in this game, one of those trainers that just brings that pedigree and that experience that I think evens it up a lot bit for David Morell, being that Ronnie Shields is going to be the one with the strategy. Do you see that being a factor in this fight? Do you think that Ronnie Shields versus Jose Benavidez Sr. is part of this conversation as much as David Morell versus David Benavidez?
I mean, David Benavidez Sr. has, Jose Benavidez Sr. It's a great trainer. He has a few fighters in their stable. You know, he's put some champions in there, and even had great workouts for his other son, his oldest son, Jose. So he does have game plans. As far as, like I said, like him as Ronnie Shields is a vet, and he's somebody that, you know, if you listen, you're probably going to win. If you take on what this guy is giving you, Ronnie is definitely he's like a cook, you know what I mean, or somebody that works in the kitchen. He knows what ingredients to put in there to win. And I think it's funny that you say that. Look, he said chief too. Look, I thought he said chef. Look, he right what I said. But right. Yeah, he's like a cook, man. He knows how to put the ingredients together, and make a great meal for the evening, right, for his guests. So right now he's going to bring in David and Jose Benavidez to that ring. Jose Benavidez has had a lot of side detractors while he's been prepping it for this fight. You know what I mean? You got the Ryle situation. You got the situation with him and his son even having a little tip that was in the media. There was another fighter that he recently acquired, and there was also somebody else that he had beef with. You know what I mean? So it's not like
with Ryo and things of that nature.
Yeah. But there was another fighter outside of that too, right? So there's definitely situations where we see this could be a potential distractor through the whole process.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And those things, especially with the baby and things of that nature, and man, a lot of things are not on time. You know what I mean? This is the great time, but it's also the wrong time for a lot of things in the Benavidez camp. So, I mean, Morell's focused, man. Morell looks like he just wants to have fun. I'll be honest with you. When you look at, he's like a big kid. You know what I mean? Like when you look at certain fighters and you see their demeanors and the way they act, the guy looks like he's all about business, but he likes having fun while doing it. Where David Benavidez is the opposite. He looks like he's all about business and he's taking care of business. So, you know what I mean? You have two guys coming to work in two different ways, and there's always that guy that puts in the hard work, and he's always upset with the guy that just sits here and goofs off, but yet he has the same tier, same pay, same everything. He's just like this goofball. Like, I'm not saying Morell's a goofball, but you know what I mean? It's just like two different sides of two people at work, and one guy's popular based on this, one guy's popular based on that. but they just don't like each other. And this seems to be that type of event. And with the managers, coaches, it looks like there's the same criteria that goes to that. So we'll have to wait and see, Clay.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Well, I'll be looking to see it, man. I keep the layers just keep getting added to this fight. Like every other day, something's coming out. Obviously, with the performance, the PED accusations, and Mimo Heredia. I hope I'm saying his last name right. And obviously, what's going on with David Morell, and what people are saying that he's really making it difficult to be tested, which I don't know, right? Because Victor Conte came out, and I know nobody wants to hear from Victor Conte, but he did say that Tom Brown did put out an announcement that David Morell's under the highest level of testing, that he is available for VADA. VADA is randomly testing him. He hasn't popped or anything, but clearly there's some apprehension on this power that he has, and wondering if it's natural power or if it's power that's being enhanced by, you know what I'm saying, by these performance enhancement drugs. You think that plays a role in the fight as well, as far as in David Benavidez's mind or his team's mind, and their ability to execute a strategy outside the fact that they're clearly acknowledging that this is probably going to be the hardest puncher they've ever fought against?
That always plays a part. As far as him being the hardest puncher, that's yet to be seen. It's about not getting hit by somebody that punches like that. As far as that playing a part in whose mind, David Benavidez's mind, I don't think so. I think they're just going in there to handle business. I think they're trying to more get into Morell's head, make him think that, we're going to turn the world against you. And as long as Morell ignores the outside.
You can tell he's ignoring it, though. You can see it. You can see he doesn't care. He's laughing.
It seems that way, right? It seems that way. But at the same time, it's starting to raise questions when other people start coming out. And now you got to sit there and deal with the presses and stuff. We only see what's on the layers, right? We don't know what's happening inside the camps and things of that nature. What's he complaining about? Why did the guy say this? He might be fine. He might be actually like, this guy's a joke. But you know what? I'm just going to do everything he needs to do. That's up to them, not me. I'm here to be tested, and whatever the case may be, let it happen. And I'm pretty sure he has that mentality. But it all depends, Clay. It all depends on how they interact and how they deal with the situation on both ends. I think it's going to be a mind game on both sides. You know what I mean? Especially if they feel that he's not being tested, that's going to upset the Benavidez side even more. You see, he said, this fight doesn't happen if he doesn't get tested. So that right there says enough that he has some thoughts of his power. You know what I mean? That puts a big play in the conversation. So, again, we have to see how things work out, man. I can't really touch on anything else because it's really like me repeating everything I just said with these conversations and these questions. Not to you.
Right, sure. I think there is a lot of psychology in this fight, man. Without a doubt, there is. And I think David Morell, has taken advantage of that, is going to take advantage of that. Him not shaking his hand and, enticing and triggering David Benavidez to act like the way they did in that face-off. I always give that edge to David Morell, right? I'm like, there he goes. That's a win right there. And they say you build up the pattern of winning, and then, in the big day, it turns out into a win, right? If I win, I could win this part. In the art of selling, they always talk about like winning these selling points. You sell them on accepting the phone call, you accepting on listening to the pitch, you sell them on an idea of entertaining something that they didn't want to entertain. You just one sell at a time before the big one, before the close comes in. And if David Morell is doing a good job selling this idea that he's this dangerous puncher who may even be on performance enhancement drugs, right, that just puts more thought and process as to what this power is going to do. The excuses don't matter, right, Ray? Like at the end of the day, you at the end of the fight attributing the loss to performance enhancement drugs or trying to put a highlight on VADA, that's okay, as long as it's not officially on paper and it's not proven by actual documentation, by actual failed test. I don't see David Morell's been dealing with this for a while. Right. He's obviously, look, all the fighters who come out and complained that are coming out and campaigning and being interviewed talking about how their testing with David Morell was weird. He's been dealing with this for a long time. But it does seem like David Benavidez's team is putting some real eyes on this, right? Like they really feel like something is going on. They want more testing, and they're clearly concerned about it, right? Because if they weren't concerned about it, they'd just be like, listen, VADA's going to do their job. That's not our concern. We got a fight to prepare for. As long as he passes his test, what do we care? But they're like, no, you only did 5 tests. You should have done 8. I need you to do 10. Like, I'm telling you, something's going on over there. Something suspicious is going on over there. I think there's a little edge in there for David Morell. I'm also going to be interested to see David Benavidez go against maybe his team's better judgment as far as watch out for that power. Because David Benavidez does not have a watch out for that power approach to boxing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that can affect what he does in that ring. That volume punching and letting his hands go like that takes a lot of confidence as far as not worrying about what's coming back as much. And if he's going in there with reservation, that change could be the difference in his fight. Because you know how we said it yesterday, Mike Tyson, right? Make sure you leave with who brought you to the party. Well, what brought David Benavidez to the party? Was him being a monster, was him being the volume puncher. If he's going to change that in the biggest show of his life, well,
you're good.
Time will tell that story better than we could ever tell, right? So we'll keep close on it.
And the craziest thing, Clay, I was just thinking as you were talking, man, listen, Morell's going to attack the body, bro. He's going to punch this dude, and he's going to hit him early with a body shot, and it's going to wake David Benavidez up. I promise you. It's going to wake him up. It's going to change his reaction to the fight. That's going to dictate that reaction is going to dictate how that fight goes from there. Fear is the in both corners. Fear is the ultimate challenger in this fight. Right. I think both of these guys are prideful. Both of these guys are fighting champions, undefeated boxers, and I think the first person that shows fear is the loser of this fight. And I do believe that's what helps Morell win this fight is the body shot that he does, and he intimidates.
I've been thinking the same thing.
Right, he intimidates Benavidez, bro. I'm telling you, it's too sweet. It's too sweet in corn pudding, bro. I'm sorry, it just is, and unfortunately, you know what I mean. I don't eat corn pudding. I just heard about it, but you know what I mean. It's just too sweet, bro, for this type of fight to happen. I've always seen this happening. It's just the experience, you know what I mean, I had with David Morell being in the ring with like 8 fights called and 7 fights calling out David Benavidez and Canelo. I was like, man, this guy needs more experience. But, you know what I mean? Listen, sometimes experience in your former career as an amateur can help too. So I think this is one of those fights that we're going to see. I mean, shout out to the winner and shout out to both fighters for getting in the ring at the end of the day. And shout out to Thomas Hill, the voice of YouTube boxing.
Building, showing love, man. Thank you, Drew Titan, man, showing love in the super chat, putting a little color in here. We appreciate it, man. I know he's already subscribed to the need that plug. He seems to be doing well. You know what I'm saying? Without the plug. But hey, man, I appreciate the love, man. Salute to you, Drew. All right, so let's move the conversation along because we got things to talk about. Trust me when I tell you this. Separate the significant from the insignificant, right? Andy Cruz reminding Keyshawn Davis about their family ties, right? Andy Cruz reminding Keyshawn Davis, listen, man, you my son. Like, he's rooting him on too. He's like, man, I hope he wins that fight with Dennis Veritek. He's rooting him on, but he's never going to let it go. And I've heard a lot of fans who are every time you bring up Gervonta Tank Davis or you bring on Keyshawn making moves in his career, they're like, listen, he's going to be incomplete. He is going to never get the respect that he's asking for until he makes this left right. You know what I'm saying? He needs to fix what's the history that he has with Andy Cruz. And I'm be honest with you, Ray. Me personally, I don't necessarily subscribe to it. Like, I understand, and I think they will fight, but I don't know if this is something that's necessary for us to give Keyshawn his flowers. I mean, these guys seem to be in 2 different places in their career, but at one point in time, they shared the ring multiple times. We know that Andy Cruz came out on top every single one of those times. Keyshawn Davis versus Andy Cruz, necessary at this point? What's Keyshawn's focus be at?
Nope. Keyshawn, this is one of those things that can hover over your mind, over your thoughts, and sit there and play a part. Keyshawn's been nothing but focus. He seems that he had matured over the last 2 years, especially after that marijuana situation, right? Mm-hmm. So Keyshawn is getting played by how he played people. Am I not mistaken? Did he not do this? You know what I mean? About 4 fights ago, was he not trolling and trying to get in the heads of people that he didn't even fight yet? So when it's time for him to get in the ring, he gets in there and he's already in their head. Andy Cruz is taking a playbook out of Keyshawn's arsenal, bro. He's doing the same thing that Keyshawn's been doing for a long time, being that businessman, bro. And I'm gonna give Keyshawn some props on this because Keyshawn won a lot of fights and got into a lot of people's heads before he even fought them. So this is the same tactic. Andy Cruz is a smart guy by doing this. He does have the advantage in the history of the two fighters, but
he's got that mental edge on him because he's always going to be able to lean on that. Like you can say whatever you want to say, you can't change what history says that I whooped you and you ain't never whooped me. So call me a liar. Call me a liar.
Exactly, and that's going to play a part when they do fight. You know what I mean? He's just building. He's just building the semantics of it, bro. He just put it out there to make it make the challenge worthy. Maybe he has a title at the time. Maybe they fight. Maybe they don't in time. But when they fight, it's going to be anger on one side and playful on the other. Pause. And at the end of the day, we're going to see. Do I think currently in this state, Andy Cruz has a shot? Always. They're boxers, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think Keyshawn will win this fight at the moment, right? I think we get 2 or 3 fights down the line. We can see something different from Andy Cruz. You know what I mean? Him getting battle tested. That last fight he fought was a really good fighter. You know what I mean? It wasn't like well, I know his name starts with AM, whatever. But anyway, Moran, right?
Antonio, right.
And it wasn't like Antonio Moran was a pushover. He had he buckled him too, right? So the adversity in that fight for just Andy Cruz being like, yo, it's a step up fight. Yo, I didn't take this guy seriously enough. You know what I mean? I watched Devin Haney knock him out. I figured I was going to do the same thing. I was going to come here, I'll box him down. I was just going to hit him with the 1-2. Andy Cruz had to step on the gas, bro. He had to. And you know what? That showed us something. That showed us that he had a different gear. He wasn't always in the, you know what I mean? He had to take his own precaution. He had to do his own adjustments too. You know what I mean? He had to step outside the game plan to do so because his game plan was getting him caught. You know what I mean? And I think
I don't think he's ready yet. I think he's getting ready. He's going to get ready. And I agree with you. I love it. I'll be honest with you. I love what Andy Cruz is doing, man. I'm loving every minute of it because I know that ultimately as Keyshawn Davis this is how I look at it, right? Keyshawn Davis has put his eyes and focus on obviously becoming a champion. And the next biggest thing in the division outside of becoming a champion for him is this fight with Tank Davis, which a lot of people would argue is the biggest thing he should be focused on. But he has no say in the argument if he doesn't bring something to the table of accolade worthiness. You know what I'm saying? The performances are there. Him becoming a champion gives more weight in that conversation. But ultimately, we know that Tank and him don't necessarily have to fight. That it's up to Tank, the face of boxing, to go ahead and pull the trigger on that fight happening. The next biggest fight at 135 pounds for Keyshawn Davis, outside of some phenomenal, you know, him and Shakur Stevenson catching some sort of beef and that fight get lined up, that's a huge fight as well. But you know, assuming that they keep their brotherly relationship intact and they never fight each other, the next biggest fight for him has got to be Andy Cruz in that division. And that fight has a lot of energy that's going to go behind it, and a lot of money that can be generated off of it. I'm sure a Turkey Al-Sheikh is in the background, like watching this kind of like develop and watching it cook. And he's like, it's not ready yet. But with the way Andy Cruz is handling it, he's cooking it slow. That's how I look at it. He's cooking it slow. And we all know a good roast or good beef ribs or you cook it slow. You know what I'm saying? Right. You cook it real slow. You let it cook so it don't dry out and it comes off the bone. Before you know it, it's time to serve the meal, man. And it's the best damn roast you ever had. And Andy Cruz is doing his job because look, Keyshawn Davis, he is the one. It's up to him to put the interest in this fight, right? Like it's not up to Keyshawn to continue to be sitting here talking down to Andy Cruz and looking at him and focusing his energy on somebody who's not nowhere near him. If this fight is going to be whatever it's going to be based off of Andy Cruz's ability to sell it to us as fans. And every time a microphone gets in front of him and he gets asked about this, I think he does a great job selling the fight, man.
Yep.
I think he does a great job. And the thing about it is he doesn't even talk English, right?
Right.
So he's doing such a great job just in Spanish. He's blowing this fight up, man. The bigger Keyshawn Davis gets, the bigger Andy Cruz gets. Because Andy has the history, right? Yep. So it's like he even said the right thing. Like, I hope he wins this fight. I think he is going to win. I can't wait for him to win this fight. He's like, yeah, because the bigger Keyshawn Davis gets, the bigger I get. Because everybody knows who got the only person that y'all know that has this figured out, this thing called Keyshawn Davis figured out, is me, Andy Cruz. That's interesting.
It's crazy, right? It's like you said, right? I'm your daddy, bro. Like I pause. Like you're living in my shadow. No matter how you look at this, you're in my shadows. You know what I mean? And because he keeps saying that, it's going to eventually play a part in the mindset of Keyshawn. But Keyshawn, like I said, he's been focused, man. He matured a lot. You know what I mean? But eventually it's going to catch up to him. We're going to have that Frank Martin Keyshawn moment, but the opposites flip. You know what I mean? It's going to be the same arena. Keyshawn going to run over there. He's going to start popping it. Yo, it's going to get nasty before it gets ugly, bro.
As a boxing fan, it's getting fun. It's getting real fun. As a boxing fan, I'm enjoying it. So that means he's doing something great. And look, he's keeping it respectful as he can be. I mean, calling another man your son and saying you his daddy, that's pretty disrespectful. But in the spirit of a good fight, come on, man. In the spirit of a good fight, you got to love what Andy Cruz is doing right now. Keep on doing your thing, Andy. You know what I'm saying? But also deliver in the ring. We're not going to – listen, man, I'm looking for some adjustments. What I saw in that Antonio Moran fight was great, being that you did stop him. But we did see you get buckled. And you don't want to get hit like that by Keyshawn. So we're going to keep an eye on Andy Cruz. But let me tell you, man, what you're doing outside the ring with these interviews, you're making the best of what you got, man. I think we're going to see Andy Cruz and Keyshawn Davis probably, maybe early 2026?
Right. And we need 3 fights out of Andy Cruz this year. I ain't going to lie to you. He needs to get active, bro.
He has to. He's got to get active.
So, Mr. Hearns, if you're listening, get this guy in the ring, bro. Bozy, get him in the ring. We need to see this guy active. We need to see what we're going to see. You know what I mean? We need the prelim. We need the thought, like we see with David Morell, right? We need to, and you know they're gonna be at the fight. Both of them. They're gonna be at the David Morell.
Oh yeah, brother.
So
they gotta promote. They gotta promote. They gotta be there for the cameras to catch them.
And hopefully Keyshawn is smart enough not to get involved, especially with a fight coming on the tails end of that fight, right? In the 15th. 14th, 15th. Hope he's smart enough not to get, you know what I mean, into any scuffles. You know what I mean? Just let it be wordplay, because that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean?
I love what Roscott's saying right here, because this is also part of the conversation and part of the process, is because, yes, Andy Cruz and Keyshawn's going to be a great fight, but Keyshawn is getting better and better each fight. He's improving. Now, Andy, is he you know, that's always been the question for me and Andy Cruz, right? What I've seen him do in Antonio Moran, what I've seen, it's entertaining to watch him fight, but is he as good as he's going to be? Like, how much he changed and went over to Bozy Ennis. He came over already decorated at such a high level. You know, Keyshawn has clearly gotten way better since they fought in the Olympics. There's no question about this. Has Andy Cruz become that much better? And as the journey goes on, the longer this goes out, who's it favoring more, right? Is Keyshawn just constantly getting better and being active and getting better? And is it too late? Is Andy not going to be able to catch up? I mean, time will tell, right? When we see him fight, we'll be able to tell a lot better. But what Keyshawn has going on right now with his camp, with Bomac, with Terrence, with Shakur, I mean, he's just around that type of level of trainer that's going to make him better. He's around those fighters that are going to make him better. Does Andy Cruz have that same, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? God, the nature around the atmosphere. The
same energy.
Oh, brother. Oh man, I hate
radiance,
having
the radiance.
So the same around plants, trees, grass, animals. What is it called? Somebody help me in the chat, for the love of God. Don't leave me hanging like this. Babe, what is it?
Energy, Clay. Same.
Wow, man. I want the word economy keeps going in my head and punch me in my forehead. Ecosystem. Thank you. Shout out to the wife. There we go. The ecosystem around Keyshawn Davis is promoting growth. It's promoting him getting better, right? It's real fertile soil that he's working on. Is Andy Cruz really working in some fertile soil? Like, is Bozy Ennis going to get him where he needs to be to compete with the Keyshawn Davis?
That's crazy. That's crazy to ask that question because honestly, I do in the hardest of hearts, bro. As much as I love Bozy, I think Andy Cruz needs to step away. I don't think he's getting the work that he needs to get in that gym. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. You know what I mean? Because remember, he's in Miami, so I don't think he's coming up to Florida every time. Maybe he has some training going on down there or whoever he's working with, and then he comes up, and then because most fighters they train in their own gyms, and then they get into camp and they go with their trainers. So it's a hard thing to sell, Clay. I really don't know, and he may. You know what I mean? He got this far, right? He got this far in life, being who he was, 2-time Olympian, all this stuff. So, I mean, he may have the pieces of the puzzle, but then again, growth is a sign of maturity. And I always say that. You know what I mean? Like, if Andy Cruz hasn't matured in the ring, if he's not getting these the fights and the well worth of his who is he, 4-0? You know what I mean? Like
4 or 5-0, yeah, man.
Yeah. So he's got to get in the ring, bro. We've got to see this guy 3 times a year this year. If not, at least 2.
He needs that Abdullah pack, right? They need to put that Abdullah pack on him, man. He needs to be fighting as much as he can.
I think he's seasoned enough where he doesn't need that many fights, but I think for us as boxing fans, he needs to get in that ring and he needs to show basically what he's capable of because age ain't nothing but a number, bro. But getting knocked out ain't nothing but a thing, right? Shout out to Aaliyah. Had to switch it up, but yeah, man, you don't want to see this dude floored because because he's not staying focused. You know what I mean? And watching things coming back his way as he's throwing jabs and hooks and uppercuts, and his defense lacks a little bit. So, you know what I mean, he needs some activity to get his timing up.
No, let's definitely see what he does, man. But I think it's going to be interesting, the growth. I thought what Ross Scott said was real significant, man, that Keyshawn is going to get better. I think there's almost a guarantee that he's going to get better. And you got to ask yourself, does Andy Cruz get better? I mean, we'll see as he's performing in the ring, and we'll get that. But, man, Bozy Ennis, like you said, also just doubling down on what you said, I celebrate him, the work he's done with Boots. But last year wasn't the best year for Bozy Ennis, like, in his team, right? Like, he did okay, but what are we judging him on based on what's happening with Steve Fulton, with Boots Ennis, obviously, and Andy Cruz? Both of them kind of got clipped a lot, punched on a lot last year. Boots able to weather it. Obviously, he never got buckled, but we saw Stephen Fulton sat on his pockets, and we also seen him buckled a couple times. And then, of course, we watched Andy Cruz get buckled, but was able to weather that storm and ultimately stop his opponent. So we see the offensive benefits from Bozy Ennis' style of training, but it does seem like defensively we might see. Let's see what happens this year, right? But defensively, which is, I think, something Andy Cruz should be very aware of if he's going to be in the ring with a Keyshawn Davis. You know what I'm saying? There should be a lot of defense in there. Right. We'll see how that plays out. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like you what's up, Dang? Salute.
Yeah. Salute fighting words.
Andy Cruz don't want to be on cruise control. That's funny. I didn't mean to put that out there, but that's just ironic. But he definitely needs to. You know what I mean? He had to take the manual. He had to put it in manual gear, bro, so he can take over that fight with Moran. I promise you. You know it. I saw it. You know what I mean? Because he was out there listening to his coach. He had to step away. Like, no, this automatic thing. No, I need to shift the gears, bro.
He had to go back to his own thing. But see, Ray. But that's what we're talking about right now, right? Mm-hmm. See, if he's having to resort back to what he was doing,
there's no benefit.
Is he growing?
Right. There's no benefit.
The fights are going to tell us. We need to see you more in the ring, Andy. Keep doing your thing. We're watching you. But yeah, I agree with you. Right now, I definitely see Keyshawn taking that win. I'm interested in the marathon version of this conversation because Keyshawn is improving. I think Andy needs to be improving as well because I think slowly but surely Keyshawn's going to start doing this thing right here. He's going to start doing this thing right here. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, it's just going to be worse and worse for the young bull. I mean, not even a young bull. You know what I'm saying? For Andy Cruz, the dad, the father. You know what I mean? You get the thrones. You know what I mean? But let's keep it moving, man. Let's go to the next topic. Hold on one second here. We haven't talked about Shakur, man. We haven't talked about Shakur. He has a huge fight coming up February 22nd against Floyd Schofield Jr., a motivated young bull of Floyd Schofield Jr. who wants to take on the whole entire world. And sometimes that's a dangerous thing, right? Like, as much as people want to say Floyd Schofield is out of his league as far as the experience and the pedigree that Shakur Stevenson brings to the table, being young and hungry and having dreams and aspirations. You remember how we were when we were young. When you were younger, there was almost nothing you couldn't do, right? You wanted to take chances. You were way more confident. You didn't have enough losses to be worried about losing. You were just focused on the wins, right? And that could be a dangerous combination to have somebody as athletically gifted as he is and with the motivation that he has. Shakur might be dealing with the hardest challenge that he's had in his whole entire career. This is probably, we'd have to take a look at it, but this is probably the biggest challenge he's ever had with this Floyd Schofield in front of him, potentially, right? Like Terrence said, we don't know until they get in the ring. Sometimes the guy you think is going to be the biggest threat is the easiest fight, and sometimes the guy you think is going to be the easiest fight turns out to be your biggest threat. But Shakur Stevenson puts out information and says, listen, man, he promises to deliver again. And I said again because the last time he was speaking like this was when he got in the ring with Edwin De Los Santos, right? Before he got in the ring with Edwin De Los Santos, he promised this whole entire version of himself that we all got excited to see, knowing that Edwin De Los Santos was going to bring that pressure to Shakur Stevenson, knowing what we were expecting Edwin to do. We kind of figured out that that Shakur was going to have to be way more offensive, and we're going to have to see some power. We're going to have to see him work more inside in that mid-range area because he's going to be forced to, but he finessed Edwin De Los Santos, and I think we got to keep it 100. He finessed us as fans too, right? He finessed us as well. We watched it. It was a horrible fight. But look, he says the same exact thing. He says this time around, no excuses. Hands are on point. We've got the surgery. We've got the rehab. I can't remember his name, last name Ofacio. I cannot remember his first name right now. Oh my God, it's his sparring partner, a Puerto Rican kid. Shout out to Mill City, just did an interview with him. Yeah. But he said, was it Alfonso Ofacio, something like that? Alfonso?
Yeah, I think that's his name. I know like that, right? Yeah.
Right.
I know you're talking about. He's up in Ironbound with all my people. So
okay.
Yeah, he works with them.
So he says, listen, man, he's in there sparring with Shakur. He said ain't no wrong with Shakur's hands. He said Shakur's hands is 100 in the building, ready to go. This Shakur is going to be the best Shakur we've ever seen. I mean, fool us once, shame on, you know what I mean? But fool us twice, shame on me, right? What do you expect from Shakur Stevenson in this fight? And also, if you don't mind, speak on what you need to see from Shakur Stevenson. What does Shakur need to do right now that he's in competition with his brother? Keyshawn is ready to take the whole entire light of 135.
Well, you have to notice with Shakur. Shakur he's a magician, right? Mm-hmm. You have two dancers. You have two top style dancers that have what they call the moves, as the kids would say back in the day, right? Like you got the guy that can do the worm and the pop block. I ain't gonna do it. I was about to do it online. I ain't gonna do that because people gonna start like
the internet's forever. The internet's forever, Ray. Be careful. The internet's forever.
Where they can absorb and distance themselves in a box. Basically, they know how to, you know what I mean, move shoulders, move waist, move hips, move. I mean, they have control over their whole movement, upper body movement. Whereas Shakur, a lot of people are deceived. Shakur's waist stays in place, bro. He doesn't fight he uses his hands and his feet and his head movement a lot to get out of danger. He doesn't have the slickness that a lot of people think he has, like a Pernell Whitaker, per se, like a Floyd Mayweather, where they're able to sit there and they can dip and turn, you know what I mean, make you miss inside of a small area. Shakur's problem is always been that, right? Let me tell you, when Shakur has to not let that be the situation of him. Shakur wants to be the fighter that he wants to entertain the people. He wants to be the fighter that he thinks people want him to see. Now we just want you to go out there and win. We don't want you going out there making promises you can't cash. You know what I mean? Betting on yourself for knockouts and things of that nature, bro. He has to be not the over entertainer, not the surprise in the ring. No, he needs to be the guy that needs to go out there and handle his business. His brother, aka Keyshawn Davis, is handling the business. He ain't going out there trying to be spectacular and put on a show and be slick no, he's handling business. Shakur used to do that. Shakur used to get in the ring. He used to be this guy that, you know what I mean? But, with fame comes attention. and he likes the attention. He gets in that ring. He wants to be that guy. He wants to show everybody how skillful he is. It's not sparring all the time, Clay. And a lot of these guys, they think they're slick because they're in sparring matches. I think Shakur is very capable of KOing anybody. Let's be honest. He has his jabs punch output is hard enough. He has a dangerous left hook. You know what I mean? So he's definitely capable of flooring and knocking out any boxer in the ring. The problem is he willing to put him, like you said, get in the middle of that ring and make that happen? Is he able to use the right things to avoid certain aspects as he's moving forward? Able to take on the onslaught as he's moving forward. We did see him stand toe-to-toe a little bit with Artem. What's his name again? I said Artem. Artem, right? But we see him Haratuni, wherever, how you say his name.
You said it right, Artem Haratuni. Yeah.
Right, he stood there and he did. But what did he still complain about, Clay? The one thing that boxers that me and you talking privately, we haven't seen Tank, or we haven't seen Shakur really tested in these situations. Besides Shakur complained about it 3 times in a row, right?
Like that body work
with a mean body shot. This guy hit me with a body shot. Yo, Artem he hurt me with a body shot. Bro, you're telling everybody where your weakness is, right? But at the same time, are you working on developing that? Are you working on not to be hit there and be able to counter and all those things? Shakur has to just work on it. Those are the things I have to see. And he can't leave especially with a guy like Kid Austin, great fighter, who likes to lean in with his head, very Sean Porter-like, and then just throw heavy punches, bro, as he's like jumping in. So is Shakur going to be ready for that? That's the question, because he's going to be there to be hit. The problem is, are you going to be there to hit him? That's what we have to ask ourselves with Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also people are acknowledging that Schofield, the Schofield team or Schofield Senior has made some adjustments with the training in there. He's brought in Ronnie Shields, or is it Cunningham? I think it's Ronnie Shields he brought in there. On Schofield's team, he's made some adjustments with the training. He's acknowledged Schofield Jr.'s shortcomings, right? He's acknowledged, like, okay, my kid is kind of showing some weakness, and he's doing what we ask a lot of fathers to do, which is put their son first, right? He might, take over the conversations and with the interviews and everything of that nature, but he's making the adjustments in the camp, right? Like Schofield is working on these. Is not Ronnie is not in the corner anymore. No, who's in the corner? Boxing source.
Juan
Gomez.
Juan Gomez.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nick J's Juan Gomez, the same guy who's working with Jamel Charlo, I think, right? If I'm correct. Yeah, it's the guy who worked. Yeah, Juan Guzman, right? Juan Guzman, right? Ant McQueen, salute to Ant McQueen in the building. But still, that's an official adjustment right there. I think Juan Guzman, you know what I'm saying, is going to have him on point, you know what I mean, defensively especially, you know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to have to see how those adjustments work in there. But from Shakur Stevenson, his ability to win this fight, Ray, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not concerned about that. I know he can win this fight. We know how he can win this fight. We all know how he can win this fight. But there's a statement that I cannot lie to you, Ray. There's a statement that needs to be made by Shakur Stevenson in this fight. He has to separate himself from what the narrative is about him. He has to fight against this narrative. Now, I enjoy watching Shakur Stevenson fight. I think he's a great boxer. But look, he's trying to get in the conversations with the biggest names in the game. He's trying to be must-see boxing. He's trying to be in the conversation for face of boxing worthy showmanship.
Right.
And he has to deliver on this in this fight. This is an opportunity for him to do this. Is he capable of doing it? Is going to have to get answered that night, because at this point you have to ask yourself, is Shakur Stevenson able to deliver those kind of performances? Is he limited? Has he hit his ceiling? Is he this highly defensive first fighter who can move around? And we'll keep asking him to at least the threat of knocking somebody out, the threat of stopping somebody, just be an exciting fighter. Is he able to deliver on that? And you got to be looking out for that in this fight. Seeing this fight, it's not about the win, Shakur. It's about how you win, Shakur. How you win, I think, makes the biggest difference in this fight. He's saying he promises to deliver, so you're obviously acknowledging the need for the change. You're acknowledging it because you've been delivering. You're undefeated, right? So you're not talking about delivering on a win. You're talking about delivering on a performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a performance that you're promising us. We don't want to play the game with you. We want to see the performance. We want to see the performance because you're delivering messages saying, shout out to everybody who's been holding me down. I didn't go do the research, get the receipts on Twitter, but I'm not lying, but you ain't got to take my word for it. But he put it out on Twitter and said it. Shout out to everybody who's holding me down. I'm going to make you guys proud. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to deliver in this fight. Salute to Charles Edward. Shout out, Cheese. Salute. He has to do that. He has to do that, man. And I question if he has the ability to do it. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe he can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much to bet on, right? I don't have much to put on the table and say, like, this is why I know it. Because at this point, I'm just going with some sort of an eye test, and the eye test doesn't even back this up. So Shakur, man, we're looking forward to see this, man. Because if he does this, man, I mean, he just brings a whole another layer of energy to 135. And what I believe, and I've told you already, I think he's going to make a move to 140. You know, I mean, I think there's big opportunities for there. I'm in the building inside. Oh, word. And I'm in the building in Saudi. Salute to Cheese in Saudi Arabia for sure, man. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Cheese. I'm assuming you feeling better, Cheese. I know you was down and out, dealing with a whole bunch of some adversity. If you out there in Saudi, you must be feeling good. Let me see. 140 is amazing if these niggas fight each other. For sure, Cheese. That's a fact.
Right.
That is a fact. That is a major fact, man. You know what I mean? Hold on a second. I'm missing. What is it? Yeah, boom, right here. 140 is amazing if these dudes fight each other. 100%. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shakur has a plan on moving to 140. I ain't going to lie to you, man. I think that's what it's going to be. I think he's going to let Keyshawn have it, man. He's going to let Keyshawn have it because if Keyshawn can lock in that fight with Tank, what's Shakur doing at 135 now? He's just in the way. He knows it. You just in the way. Am I bugging, right? Like if
yes and no. Yes and no. I mean,
if Tank gets to fight with Keyshawn, if Keyshawn gets to fight with Tank, right? Now, if Keyshawn loses, I guess he still has something to do there, right? But if they get the fight for the most part, he's not going to unify. He's not going to become undisputed. He's not going to fight Keyshawn Davis. You got all these fights at 140 waiting on him. You got Tio up there. You got Devin up there. You got Ryo. You got Liam Paro. You got Hitchinson. You got all these fights waiting up there for Shakur Stevenson. And then you're with Matchroom. You're with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn don't got the power to give you what you want at 135, but he can deliver at 140. He can deliver at 140.
Right. Another boot situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, absolutely, man. Clay, listen, money talks, right? We know in these situations, Shakur can make the move if he wants. Keyshawn can make the move if he wants. Here's the issue. I think they do meet up at 135. I think they do. If they don't meet up, it's going to come close to happening before it's all said and done, before one of them do move to 140. Shakur wants to unify at the division. He doesn't have to be undisputed. He wanted undisputed. He had his opportunity. He blew it. He acknowledged that. Like, you know what I mean? I should have just took that bag. But at the time, you know what I mean? His eyes were set on a different prize. Mm-hmm. He should make the decisions that's best for him and his career, not so much best for what his desires are, as they say, right? Because you have wants and needs. You need to continue to win. You need to give us the best fights that you can provide for the fan base. You want to have all these accolades. Your career is already where it's at. You know what I mean? You're not going to change that. Being a unified champion is more than enough to continue your career and be acknowledged in the game as somebody that can be understood as one of the best. You don't have to have every belt. You know what I mean? Every belt's not going to always be available. But when you have opportunities like you did, you can't pass up on them. And that was the biggest that was probably the second biggest thing of his career that hampered him, right? Because the first one was the De Los Santos fight where people put memes on him saying that he was a track star. And then the second one is him not taking that fight with Devin for the 25% or whatever it was, right? So at the end of the day, man, we can move forward. But like you said, in other words, I like Shakur. I think he's going to show us different. This is what I see. His thing is going to be working on timing. And the reason why I'm saying that, and you pay attention to what I'm saying, y'all, Shakur's going to be working on timing. We mentioned that young kid Austin likes to jump forward and try to launch, right? So what's going to happen is Shakur's a very keen. He has a keen eye in the ring. So what he does is he puts that hand out and he waits. He pauses. He waits for you to move. He does a little soft feint to see where you're at. You know what I mean? Maybe touching a glove or two to measure distance. And what happens when Whistling goes to launch forward, because you know he's going to do it. He's going to move those feet, and he always starts those feet. Kid Austin always starts his feet before he moves forward. And when he starts his feet and he gets that timing down, Keyshawn's going to land one. He's going to continue to land them. He might even put them on his pocket by the third round because he's going to just catch him in timing. So let's see Shakur do his thing. I think he's working on that, and I think that's how we see the victory happen for Shakur's end. He can even outbox Kid Austin as well, but I don't think boxing is going to. This is going to be a fight. I'll be honest with you. Kid Austin's not coming to box. He's coming to fight, and it's going to force Shakur to fight. So we have to see how it works.
Yeah, I agree with you. If Shakur's hands is where he's saying they are, I'm expecting a fight. Shakur, once again, just to close out and say, it ain't about winning, man. You're going to win if you want to win. You know how to win. We know you know how to win. Nobody's questioning that. And if you're talking about delivering, you're not talking about the win, because we know the win and how it can show up. It's about how you win. It's about how you win, Shakur. And we'll be looking to see if you're going to win in the way that, you say you can. You say you're different now. You say you punching different. You say it's a whole different energy. Well, let's find out, right? Let's find out. Let's continue to move the needle and speak on Kambosos, right?
1 second. Go, you go.
Right. Speaking on Kambosos, one of the biggest fights at 140, but also, which I don't even have up here. I can't believe I don't have it up here. What I really wanted to talk about with Kambosos. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. Am I tripping? I might be tripping, man. Let's see here. 781. Is this it? Is this it? Is this it? I wonder. Okay, forget it. We'll not get caught up on it. But I really wanted to speak on Kambosos and Teofimo a little bit. What Teofimo was saying about Kambosos and what Kambosos was also saying on Teofimo. Now, Teofimo put out a little rant yesterday in that interview he had with Ness over there at Boxing Voice. Shout out to them. Basically mentioning the fact that Kambosos may have been stepping out to the right, escaping VADA testing, and believing that had something to do with the victory that Kambosos had. To me, I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like it's just a bunch of nonsense. I think Teofimo's digging a hole for himself that's just going to be crazy to see him get himself out of. Making excuses on his performance against Kambosos, or even acknowledging the fact that Kambosos was superior to him, and acknowledging that he's acknowledging the superiority, period, right? He's basically saying that Kambosos was better him that night, but there was a reason why he was better than him that night. And the reason is he's saying that he's trying to say that Kambosos was on performance enhancement drugs. I think that's crazy, right? Not crazy that Kambosos would be on performance enhancement drugs, but to make an accusation like that years later, it just shows you how mentally weak, in my opinion, Teofimo Lopez is exposing himself to be. Very mentally weak to even understand that accusation has no weight behind it, that it has nothing that you can say to prove it. So you just saying it is given into your mental weakness. Because even if you thought that, I would think you would hold that to your chest just off the strength that you didn't say that around that time. So the fact that you're still making excuses for this loss, and now you're bringing in performance enhancement drugs into the conversation. Anyway, George Kambosos gets confronted with the question in an interview that he did. I can't remember what the platform was that was speaking to him, but he basically said, Teo, you've handled your whole career like crap. I had the opportunities you had, and I was able to double up, triple up, make millions and millions and millions of dollars. You never even made $1 million yet. You know what I'm saying? And just like I sat you down on your pockets that night when we fought, you should sit down now, because you're embarrassing yourself to even come at me about that right now. I'm still in position, even with my losses against who? Lomachenko and Devin Haney. Best fighters that you could lose against. I didn't lose against, you know what I'm saying? And he even brought up his losses that were arguable, right? To say you not only lost what you lost, but people know you lost against Jermaine. People know you lost against San Martin, right? Like, so you got these wins, these questionable wins on your record, and you're trying to now point at me with performance enhancement drugs. Sit down, young bull. Ain't nobody even trying to hear from you no more. Your credibility is going away day by day by day. I don't even need to do it to you. You're doing it to yourself. Speak on that, Ray. I mean, how do you feel about that? I mean, at this point,
shout out and drop a bomb for Kambosos. Listen, man. This dude is living rent-free in Teo's head. He has a mansion in that place, bro. I told you this, Clay. What I tell you last year when we talked about Teo, I said, yo, Teo ain't got mental problems. Teo got Kambosos problems. Kambosos is living in that dude's head for real. Like he's constantly being a distractor. Every time he fights, he comes up. Every time he thinks about it, he doesn't like talking about the loss. Every time anything happens along fighting anybody, Kambosos is there. And he doesn't like it. He doesn't like talking about his losses, right? Anytime somebody brings up the loss, he goes, yeah, okay. And he moves the needle very quickly, right? He even said one time that he needs to get his finally, I think it was the last interview before his last fight, said he has to get that back in blood. Man, he don't want to see Kambosos. Kambosos is his kryptonite. He's always been his kryptonite. I thought it was Devin Haney. It ain't Devin Haney. It's Kambosos. Kambosos embarrassed this guy, bro. He, especially after he was on top of the world, right? Beat Kobe, beat Loma. He on top of the world, right? And got demolished, got embarrassed, got outpunched, got outworked by a guy from Australia that nobody even thought was king.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the King Kambosos, the Greek king, came over here and whipped that ass, bro. I hate to say it. And Teo don't know what to do with himself. He doesn't know how to. All that mental health he had, he says Kambosos all over. He's probably sitting in the chair right now talking to a psychiatrist. Damn that Kambosos, I lost my wife because of her. Yeah, bro. I'm losing my contract to Top Rank because he's blaming everything. As far as him being missing opportunities for drug tests and this and that, listen, man, it's crazy that you say that. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot. He's tested. He admitted to being tested. He admitted to going through all the protocols, and only they know. Really, at the end of the day, right? Only they know what goes on there. We don't know. But as far as him being in the hospital bed next to him so he can avoid testing, that's crazy work. Because if I'm not mistaken, I seen Kambosos like the next day doing interviews, you know what I mean? Talking about, and Devin Haney walking up on him, talking about, yo, bro, we gonna get this fight? Yeah, we'll get this fight. I got you, young guy, right? Why Teo went in hiding, moved up the weight, won a title and went into retirement. Like
didn't want the rematch. Didn't
want the rematch. Had it, didn't want it, right? So come on, man. He just, bro, rent free. Go to Kambosos.
No matter what you want to say about George Kambosos, he's a draw. He has a whole country behind him, and he's one of those fighters who can deliver. If you want a pay-per-view fight, if you want that dance partner at 140, he's going to offer a lot of guys at 140 opportunities to make big money, to cross over and be on the international stage, where he has a lot of fans who still follow him and who still think he's a big deal for his ability to go ahead and stop a Teofimo, well, not stop him, but beat a Teofimo Lopez, right? So and become a unified champion, and fought for undisputed championship against Devin Haney twice in Australia and filled up the arena both times. He's a draw. Teofimo is not. At least he hasn't shown us that he is. We haven't seen that from him. So I thought it was interesting. He's picking his battles in the worst way. He's going at Andre Ward. He's going at Devin Haney. He's going at the whole entire Top Rank company. And now he's dragged George Kambosos in it. And either way, it's looking crazy. He said a little bail for Teo. He didn't want the rematch at 135. Right. I mean, it is what it is, Cheese. It is what it is. Like, I mean, I think Teo, you just need to fight, bro. Sign the contract and fight Sabriel, bro. Like, do that, man. Great fighter, bro. Great fighter. You're a great boxer, but everything else that he's doing right now is so toxic for his career. I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, right? So check it out. Even better, Clay. If you didn't want to fight Sabriel, guess who you can fight? That guy sitting right there on that in the corner of this page. He
Right,
moved up to
George
140.
Kambosos.
Right? He
Yep.
moved up to 140. People would like to see you get your get back, but you're not even looking that direction. You, bro, and that's why I think he never fought Arnold Barbosa, because they have similarities.
Right.
I was thinking about that, right? I was like, Arnold Barbosa has a similarity to Kambosos. Like they very twitchy, very quick boxing ability, and they have weird fighting styles. And I think that he sees a lot of Kambosos when he looks at Arnold Barbosa. He just doesn't want to fight this guy, right? There's two guys. Now Sabriel, we know, has power. He don't want to fight Sabriel. He claims that Devin ran from him, but they lowballed the offer. He had many opportunities to fight him previously, especially for the unification. Teo is a living heartbreak of American boxing, bro. And you know what? This is what happens when you got the Riddick Bowe moment. You just take your belt, just drop it in the trash, bro. Just walk away. just do what you got to do.
Man, Kambosos is looking to make the biggest fights at 140. Eddie Hearn just picked him up. He's not dumb as to why he picked him up. He's going to keep getting money. He's going to probably be in some big fights at 140. He's going to help a lot of people transition and become popular at 140, probably whooping his tail. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we'll see what he does. But, what he brings with his name, you're right. I don't know why Teofimo wouldn't even just go ahead and fight him now, if anything, because it's going to be a big fight. Is the guy you lost to, right? He's the guy everybody keeps throwing in your face every time you talk about how great you are. That's the loss that you haven't avenged, right?
Right.
It is what it is. So let's see what he does, man. Let's see what he does, man. It is what it is. So a lot of duck season going on in boxing right now, maybe business, however you want to look at it. Elvis Rodriguez passes on Sabriel Matias, man. I thought that was diabolical. I'm gonna tell you what, man. We thought it was debunked. We thought it was taken away. We thought that the Rubik's Cube called Sabriel Matias was figured out. But do we need to keep it real? Is Sabriel Matias still the boogeyman at 140? Does he still have that fear in the heart of fighters at 140? If we're watching Teofimo acting the way he's acting, you're watching Elvis Rodriguez acting the way he's acting. I mean, doesn't that kind of give a little bit of weight to the conversation again? Is it coming back again? Is he back? Is Sabriel Matias still the boogeyman at 140 pounds?
Yes and no. I think a lot of people haven't figured out for a long time. I just think it takes a special type of fighter to beat somebody of his caliber. Somebody that has the Benavidez style of fighting, coming forward, moving backwards, staying, planning and throwing hard punches while he's in front of you, never giving you a break. Sabriel Matias he's a machine, right? But when you look at the opponents that he could possibly have, there's a few that can beat him. I don't think too many people are going to go toe-to-toe with him. You have to be that boxer. You got to have somebody that has a nice jab. You have to know when to hold and grab him. The Paro playbook, it was there. You know what I mean? So we've seen a lot of fighters not take the fights with him. Here's the thing. I think the Elvis, I don't know why I can't say it.
Rodriguez?
Right. Rodriguez, right? I think that was a team thing calling him off. He's a young fighter, bro. He probably doesn't want that type of fight on his resume. He's a high risk, low reward for him, because if he loses, he can waste a lot on his career moving forward. So I think that's a timing fight. I don't think that's so much of him being afraid of Matias, because they've been in the ring together, sparring and stuff like that. So they know each other. As far as that fight being legitimate, I think eventually that fight's going to happen. You can't not have that fight. You know what I mean? Right. You cannot. They have some history. But as far as like Teofimo is just wild when it comes to Sabriel. Sabriel is it's just, like I said, he's just a machine. And when you got guys like they're machines, first of all, sometimes it's time to move. If nobody's fighting you, it's time to move. You got too many fighters that like to hold on to divisions and things of that nature too long, and then that's when it gets bad for them, right? Weight problems, this and that. And I know he doesn't have weight problems, but it's probably time to move to 147. Get in there with some people that are willing to fight you. Stop playing with people that are avoiding you. You're not going to make the fights that you want. You're going to keep fighting people that are not developed enough or has-beens or you know what I mean? We can put them A, B, C level fighters, and it doesn't help your career at this point. You know what I mean? It's better to just move up, get somewhere where the competition is going to be there, and people are not going to run from you. make yourself look vulnerable. You know what I mean? Make people want to fight you. Get those paydays, and you can get them moving up to 147. Staying 140 is just it's a dead end street for Matias. Unfortunately, he is a great fighter, and I just think he's going to have certain fighters avoid him a large amount, believe it or not, because high risk, low reward, and that's it. Bottom line, at the end of the day.
Man, I agree with you on him potentially moving up to 147. I do feel like I don't think fighters are jumping to fight Sabriel Matias without him having a belt, without him having some sort of official reward, some championships, some accolades on the table. It doesn't look like many fighters want to fight Sabriel Matias. He's not stylistically favorite fighter to fight because he's just dangerous. He's able to absorb a lot of punishment. He'll give you those early rounds and lull you into a false sense of security, and he has the ability to get you out of there. Literally has a body on his resume, has somebody who was unalived because of what he did to them inside of the ring. So I think he is, just to answer the question that was on the screen earlier, I think he is the boogeyman of 140 pounds. And I think him without a title, he's even more of the boogeyman because he's hungry and he has no reward. He's all risk. I think it's going to be real hard for Sabriel Matias to make the big fights right now at 140 pounds, unless you got somebody trying to make a statement. Who's going to sit there and just jump in the ring with Sabriel Matias just to jump in the ring with him? This was going to be an IBF eliminator fight between him and Elvis Rodriguez. It was going to put him in a position to become an IBF, to go and get a shot at becoming an IBF champion, ultimately fighting Richard Hitchinson. And it's not going to happen now, I guess, which is another question. And I guess that question will get answered in the coming days. But if they're not making this fight, is the IBF still willing to have an eliminator fight? And will they be willing to include either Sabriel Matias or Elvis Rodriguez in that conversation for that eliminator? But like I said, Sabriel Matias' best shot at fighting a big fight was probably going to be in an eliminator, being that there is a reward in that. But obviously Elvis Rodriguez's team knows better, right? And they're not just willing to go ahead and put their up-and-coming fighter, what they believe is the up-and-coming Elvis Rodriguez, take a risk against a Sabriel Matias. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Oh, man, bro. So listen, man, I told you there's an announcement, man. Xander Zayas, I don't know if you heard or not, but Xander Zayas has just been announced on the undercard of Keyshawn Davis' card in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who he's fighting, bro? He's fighting Slava Spomer. Who is that guy, right? Well, when you pull this guy up, this guy has the elements to be, he's an Eastern European, first of all. Let's put that out there, right?
A name like that, he can't be anything else, Clay.
And he's an undefeated Eastern European, okay?
Right.
20 wins, 11 knockouts, 0 losses. His last 3 fights, he's stopped the opponents, right? His last 3 opponents, 23-12, 20-0, 24-7. He's fighting some decent competition. You know what I mean? And he had a unanimous decision before that, a knockout before that, a couple of unanimous decisions. He's been on a streak, to say the least, right? To say the least. 5'10". You know what I mean? This dude has Bakram energy, in my opinion. There's some Bakram energy there. This fight's not going to be a walk in the park for Xander Zayas. This is a big challenge for him. Right. Now, look, Xander Zayas was this close to having a shot at being a WBC interim champion and fight Virgil Ortiz to replace Duran Boots Ennis. He was this close. Bob Arum moved him out of that and said, "Look, kid, you're not ready for that." But now you put him in the ring with this guy, Slava Spomer. Is this a big risk? You think this matchup, is this a big risk?
Yes, it is. So you have a 32-year-old German fighter,
right?
That has no losses, 20 wins, 11 knockouts, over 50% knockout ratio. I see a lot of, and it's funny, we just talked about him. I see a lot of Kambosos vibes in this fight. Are we setting up Xander Zayas for the Teo moment? Like, are we? You know what I mean? It's crazy, right? It's crazy how parallels work. So when I look at him, I see a lot of Hot Rod, aka, and it's not because they look alike. I see a lot of Hot Rod, aka, what's the dude, Kashi, type fighters. You know what I mean? In your face. hard punching, very well balanced footwork is intact, high guard, able to move back when he needs to, chin check type guy, right?
Right.
He's there to be hit. He's going to be there to be hit. The problem is he going to hit you harder than you're going to hit him? And that's what these type of guys bring to the table. So we have to see, man. Look, we have to see how this guy comes to the ring. I'm actually going to do some research today, Clay. I ain't going to lie to you. This is going to be somebody I have to sit down and watch. I think didn't he fight on BoxRec? Not BoxRec, boxing. Pro Box, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had a fight on Pro Box, and I think he looked pretty good. But I'm going to go back and double check. We'll see what he's about. And Turkey Al-Sheikh has a pool of fighters, and with Bob Arum tapping into that pool now, let me tell you something. We're going to see some interesting fights coming in. All these people that signed over there with partnerships with Riyadh. We're going to see some fighters that are on these lists that Turkey Al-Sheikh has had in mind for fighters that we've never seen. So keep your eyes out, man. Keep them, you know what I mean? And let's see what happens. I mean, maybe he peeled back some layers. Maybe Xander Zayas shows us who he really is. It's only time is going to tell, and I can't wait to see this fight, man. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think this is a hidden gem in that on that card. That card is already pretty decent. We got Abdullah Mason on that card. We've got the return of Jared Anderson on that card, and then you add on a Xander Zayas on there, and obviously we don't need to talk about the headliner. The headliner speaks for itself. That's going to be a great card. Keyshawn Davis is headlining some great cards. His card that he did last year was crazy. Now he comes back full circle and he's headlining this card. I think it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a crazy fight. I think it's going to be a real test for Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas has been just growing. Every time you see him, he looks like more like a grown man. I can pull up a picture of Xander Zayas where I think it was like last year, 2023. He looked like a little kid, pudgy little cute cheeks. You know what I'm saying? Just looking like some kid now he's looking like a grown man, but the power doesn't seem to be there yet. The power hasn't fouled up with him yet. He's not stopping people like he was doing a little bit earlier against the prospects he was fighting against. He's fighting against somebody who's probably going to be bringing a great Eastern European amateur background, probably a lot of, good boxing under his belt. But he also has somebody who's lately been stopping people, undefeated fighter. This is a huge step up for Xander Zayas. This is a Xander Zayas potential coming out party, right? Coming out as one of those guys at 154, or it's a potential exposing party where he gets exposed and gets sent back a couple of steps. This kind of fight can get complicated. I think it's definitely going to be one of those fights to look at on this card, a big fight to look at on this card to see how Xander Zayas performs on there, man. It's going to be interesting. But we're going to see him on February 14th, man, on that Keyshawn Davis undercard. Got to be happy to see that, adding something interesting to 154. Let's see what he does, right? All right, so it is what it is. I'm going to put out the link.
Yeah, come on, Rallo. Let's talk about it.
I'm going to put the link out there. If you guys want to hit the link, come up here and we can build on some of these topics that we were talking about today. We're talking about everything from Sabriel Matias and Elvis Rodriguez. We talked about David Benavidez a little bit more, Keyshawn Davis, Andy Cruz, a bunch of other topics I can't remember off the top of my head, but feel free to hit the link if you guys feel like building. It is there in the chat. Also, if you forgot to put some color in the chat, feel free to do that as well. And don't forget to hit the like buttons. The like buttons. Let's make sure those like buttons going up, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. But yeah, man.
Right. Absolutely. We can scroll through the chat and answer questions while we're waiting for somebody to come up if you like. I can go backwards. This is not a pissing contest. So Rallo, to address the situation of Teo, it wasn't a stretch, man. The guy was supposed to win. It was supposed to be an easy win for him, especially after the last two opponents. Yes, Kambosos was the mandatory, whatever the case may be, but nobody knew who he was, just like nobody knows who this guy Spoma is, right? So things like this are lightning in a bottle. They're embarrassing moments for you, the superstar, when you lose to somebody like that. It doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter if you knock them down, whatever the case may be. It's how the fight looks and how your career, how you handle that loss. And that was a hard loss for Teo. He's embarrassing himself currently based on the status of that fight. I mean, it is what it is, though. You know what I mean? Everybody has the right to their opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? There's definitely some perspective there. But let me see. Embarrassing is a stretch. Wait, hold on a second. Let me see what he said so I can answer it to. Embarrassing is a stretch, Ray. That was a hell of a fight. Teo knocked him down late and lost that fight in the last 2 rounds. It was a hell of a fight, though. It was an action-packed fight. They were going at it. You know what I mean? I don't think, Kambosos dominated Teo or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But listen, man, when you get into the game of talking ish, it looks like it was an embarrassing fight until you see Teo talking about this dude who's on performance enhancement drugs 2-3 years later. You know what I'm saying? It starts to show you that it actually stained his brain, that the fight was a lot more one-sided than you probably thought it was going to be if he's attributing the performance to steroids. You know what I'm saying? That's like crazy. I mean, honestly, a fight being as competitive as it was, what would make you think he was on performance enhancement drugs? Right. It's not like he dominated you. Or did he dominate you? Were you in distress for most of the fight? Did you feel the pressure? Were the punches hitting you a lot harder than we saw? Was it a whole lot of boxing going on that we didn't see happening? I don't know. It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Question. Yeah, Spark, you should come up, man. We have no problem talking about this online. What do I see as the best game plan for Floyd Schofield? Patience and taking advantage of the moment. It's really hard to say because Shakur is such an elusive fighter. You want to be able to be patient with him. Patient wins. You just don't want to be patient enough when you're sitting there like what's his name, Edwin De Los Santos, where you're waiting for a moment and you're afraid of what's coming back. You have to be, you know what I mean? You have to be patient and pick your moments, but you have to be, when you have opportunities to trap in the corners, cut off the ring, you have to take advantage of those moments. If not, you're going to sit there. We're going to see the same thing with what's the name, in the opinion of you just being patient and staying away from Shakur's left hand. You have to take those chances, and that's important.
Listen. I'm going to tell you, Schofield needs that. Schofield's road to victory is that body. If he's able to get to Shakur Stevenson's body, because I know they're aware of this. I know Schofield Sr. is aware of this. I'm not sure if Juan Guzman is there with him, but that body campaign is going to make a big difference because if you can stop Shakur Stevenson from moving around, if you can slow him down, you're going to have to stop this kid from moving around. You have to assume going in that fight that Shakur is going to be elusive and he's going to make you have to find him. If you're sitting there trying to headhunt Shakur Stevenson, you're going to get, tail whooped from pillar to post. Your game plan is going to have to be, like Dre said, he doesn't move his body that much. He moves the top of his body, but the center mass of his body is pretty stationary. You know what I mean? He'll jump in and out. It'll be your athleticism. It's going to be his athleticism. And if he's using that athleticism to get to that body, he can find something late in that fight to take advantage of. It'll be Shakur Stevenson's responsibility, and his road to victory is going to be avoiding all that, and obviously his ability to make Schofield pay and discourage him from taking those risks. You know what I'm saying? For coming at him with those shots. So it's going to take power, and it's going to take that left hand. It's going to take those hands to be healthy in order to discourage Floyd Schofield Jr. from putting that ultimate pressure on him. But Schofield's road to victory, in my personal opinion, is going to be an effective body campaign. And that's going to be something that somebody who's athletic enough can do. I think he's athletic enough to do it. But I also agree with you, Ray Davis, to say that the patience is going to be huge because he's going to have to be patient because Shakur's going to be there to frustrate him. He's not going to immediately find success with that body campaign. He's going to have to work, find it, try things, adjust, move around. He's going to have to deal with Shakur Stevenson being the best version of himself, which is a very elusive fighter.
Facts. And like Nick J said, focus on the task.
100%. 100%.
Anybody want to click the link?
No, probably not. Trust me, we about to close it up soon anyway. I got to get ready to go up with Blue in a minute.
Yeah.
About another hour or so, hour 15 minutes.
Same thing. Similar things. Y'all getting in fights with the Take fans again?
Probably. I don't know. We'll see. Ray Davis, thanks for the attack. Probably. I don't know. Shakur Stevenson going to make an example out of Kid Austin. Remind everyone what he did to Yoshino. Yeah, the Yoshino fight could be a repeat. What link? The Yoshino fight could be a repeat. If Floyd Schofield is standing square in front of Shakur Stevenson and just trying to take his head off, it could be very Yoshino-like, which is good for Shakur. So really what Shakur wants is for Schofield to try to rush him, you know what I'm saying? So he can hit him with a lot of crazy shots. But we'll see if what Schofield does, though, because the difference between Yoshino and what we're asking Schofield to do is that Schofield was that Yoshino was headhunting, was trying to headhunt Shakur Stevenson. Schofield, if he takes that athleticism and uses him to attack that body, similar to like an Oscar Valdez type of situation, he could do something crazy.
Did you know Andy Cruz is fighting on the 25th in a 10-round fight?
Nah, I didn't know that. Who's he fighting?
Whoa, Omar Salido. Here, I see the link right now.
Well, I'm already there, I think.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm already there.
He's already started.
Hold on, let me see who he is. If he's who I think he is. Yeah, he's good. Omar Salcido, Gomez. I thought it was somebody else, but this kid is still good now. This kid's official.
Yep.
This is gonna be a big fight for him.
We just talked about it, bro. It's crazy.
This is gonna be a big fight, bro. Hold on a second here. It's gonna be a matchroom fight. Andy Cruz. Oh, he's gonna be on the undercard of Diego Pacheco and Steve Nelson.
There you go.
Ooh, this is gonna be a crazy card. Ernesto Mercado versus Jose Pedraza on that card. What? That's gonna be a crazy card, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a crazy card. That's at the end of this month. Listen, man. Right there in Vegas.
Crazy work, right?
That is a nice card, bro.
Crazy work, Clay.
That is a nice card.
Yo, let's get these super chats, bro. Salute. Thank you all, man.
Salute to COE Films. Shakur make this look easy. Schofield got hurt to the body by Shakur in sparring. Almost had a doodle on himself. His dad said it. Levels it is. That's another thing. Okay, so that's another thing. How will Shakur salute to 2 cents with the $2 and salute to COE Films with the $5 holler in the building? Listen, man. Shakur Stevenson. How does Shakur Stevenson slow up Schofield? Is he going to be hitting him with crazy headshots, or is he going to attack that body as well to discourage Floyd Schofield from pressing him? What do you think, Ray?
All right, so on Shakur's side, right? So Shakur needs to just stay balanced. His balance is, like I said, he needs to keep that hand for distance. You know what I mean? Measure him very well. Throw a lot of feints as he's measuring, and capitalize on every movement that Schofield does. He shuffles his feet. I'm telling you, if you watch Schofield fights, he shuffles his feet as he goes to throw a hard punch every single time. And Shakur is very linear when he moves, especially if he dips back and if left or right. He's very linear, and I can see right now and support the Joaquin Arzola. Appreciate it.
Salute, King.
Listen, man, he's very elusive in that sense of he can sit there and counter, and he's going to live on the counter with this kid. And because he's going to live on this counter, it could turn into a Yoshino moment. Very much so. Him sitting there, and if he tries to box Shakur, it's a mistake. I've seen Kid Austin box back at 126. He is a good boxer, but if he tries to box Shakur, I think that's a mistake. You know what I mean? It could change the plan, though. It could change how Shakur approaches this fight. But then again, Shakur's an Olympian, man. So I mean, he's going to take that very seriously, and we'll see how that turns out. But that's definitely a great question.
Yeah, no doubt. Salute Fly Frequency in the building.
Bring up the contract. AKA. Freaking Fly.
Salute, y'all. What's going on?
What's up, brother?
I don't think I heard no predictions. Like, who y'all think gonna win?
For who? Schofield, Shakur?
For Schofield, yeah. For Schofield and Shakur.
Shakur. I never question who's gonna win. I question how is he gonna win. I think he's definitely gonna win the fight. I think it definitely could be an upset, but I definitely have no reason not to believe Shakur is gonna win this fight. But I do think more importantly on him winning the fight, it's gonna be how he wins it.
You the same? You the same, Ray?
I think Shakur wins. again, Clay just said, is how he wins. His thing is Shakur likes to bet on predictions that never seem to be, especially recently, that haven't seemed to come to pass since he moved to 135. I think the only person he really beat up was Yoshino. Yoshino was the only guy to take him in that fight because a lot of people avoided Shakur when he first moved to 135. Remember, he couldn't get a fight. It took him a while. So it could be, we could finally see Shakur, as he says, his hands right. We can see if this guy's going to be legitimate, or we can see if he's going to be, you know what I mean? The Shakur that we've grown to see recently in recent fights. So we'll see.
Ray, do you think it's a big difference between the way that Shakur fights now at 135 than he's been fighting in the lower weight classes now? Because I heard that narrative that he don't, stay in the pocket now since he moved up in weight now.
Well, let's be honest, Fly Frequency, right? Let's check it out. Most boxers, when they move up in weight, they have to adjust to the power of the new weight division. We see Bud Crawford. He didn't go in there. He didn't stay in the pocket and do the fight. I ain't gonna say he didn't stay in the pocket, but he had to use his skill set more so than go in the fight that he did at 147, where he knew where the power was, right? Once he made those adjustments with Madrimov. So let's take Shakur, for instance. When he moved up, he fought Yoshino. No one would fight him. So he felt comfortable. Right, and then we really got a real taste of somebody at in speed and power of a De Los Santos in the second fight at 135. His eyes lit up, bro. It changed how he approached fights. When he fought Artrum and him had a handful of exchanges, and he said, "Bro, the power's different." Like he felt this guy's power, and it changes. But Shakur has grown to the division. I think that Artrum fight was the fight to help him grow into the division. I think it was a lot of exchanges there. Shakur did say that he had hurt hands for a continuous moment of two fights. So we'll see how he adjusts with these hand what do you call it, the hand surgery and things like that, and see if he does maintain. Remember, Kid Austin moved up to 135 too. He was at 126 and 130, and he kind of just jumped into the frying pan at 135 while he was teetering at 130 a lot as a prospect. So when he moved up to 135 and made it official, that's where he's going to campaign at as a contender. That says a lot too. So, and he showed that he can withstand and willing to take the punishment, staying in the pocket with fighters at 135. So it'll be an interesting fight. It'll be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all as far as Shakur winning and all. But if he don't win though, if Shakur don't win this fight, man,
it means nothing to me.
That'll hurt him 100%. I mean, that'll be a crazy conversation the next day. Let me just shout out the super chat. COE Films in the building. Salute. It will be a counter display on a different level. Shakur will attack that body. Schofield needs to get more experience. Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I could rock with that, man. I think I think it goes the same way. I think it goes the other way, though, as well. I think if Schofield can attack that body effectively, I think Shakur's going to get tested, man.
Agreed. 100%. So, Flyer, I heard you talking about the contract or something before. I don't want to dwell on it because it's old news, but so it was like per splits versus pay-per-views. I mean, I'm glad we got a chat here. We got a lot of chat. A lot of people discuss it, right? And you were talking about per splits, like why is it a 55-45 and how can it be pay-per-view? To answer your question, because I really didn't get to tap in on it, and I actually remember talking about this briefly, and I think Big Supreme even touched in and agreed with us. Yes, the per split is what you give, is what a split is, right? It's the main purse. You have to split that between the fighters. You cannot split a pay-per-view of that magnitude because the way that pay-per-views work is the network gets a large portion of that. Then they turn over the results. So let's say that they make 200%, 100 over. You'll get the pay-per-view will go to the network. Then they'll give a certain portion to the promoters based on the revenue, right? And then the promoter then gives 10 to 20% to the fighters, and they break that up the way they feel or see fit. whether they give the winner a larger pot, whatever the case may be. So that's how that usually works. And a lot of people misunderstand that. You can actually Google it. It explains it a lot of times how purse splits are and how pay-per-views are paid. So you never see a pay-per-view fight where you see a fighter making more than 20% of the pay-per-view earnings. So of the promoter's earnings of the pay-per-view. So network first, promoter second, fighters third, and pay-per-view. They have a guarantee or their contracts for the purse splits. That's how that's developed, and that's usually where the split happens for the guarantee. So people are definitely have to look into that. Research is incredible.
I think the mix-up of that conversation came from what Teo said, though. I think Teo, I don't know if he worded it wrong or if he didn't know what the offer actually was, but he said Devin Haney was offered $2.5 million.
With,
you know what I'm saying?
With the purse split. And a lot of people miss that word, the purse split. It's cool. You know what I mean? I just wanted to tap into it because I seen you was in a ring by yourself last night getting jumped. So I couldn't do nothing to help. But yeah, just to give you some enlightenment on that. And anybody can say, you know, anybody wants to debate that, hey, more than welcome. And like I said, it's all on Google, my man.
Hey, salute to COE Films in the building.
Yeah, you're right, Ryan Frazier, but it's always like back end is back end, right? So if you split the pay-per-view, it still comes off from what that means that you're not even going, the promoter or the network wouldn't even make money.
A lot of hands got to come out of that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
They got to
They wouldn't even make money for them to split a pay-per-view of that magnitude with 55-45 split. That's crazy. It would be almost impossible. Just to touch in on that.
See, that's why it's important for these guys to be their own entity, man, and become like a Devin Haney, become your own boss, be able to have control of your own money, be able to negotiate those splits, because you got a lot of hands in the pocket coming out of 45 or 55. Shit, that'll probably leave you with somewhere in 20, 25, because, you know, if that, I mean, you know, you got to, and plus taxes, you know what I mean? So you got a lot of hands that's coming out of that. That's why it's best, because I remember hearing Bud talking about, you know, a lot of these guys need to be at the table at these negotiations. And the only way you be at the table of these negotiations if you are your own boss, if you are your own entity. That's the only way. So,
right.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Yeah. But I did want to touch on, well, first of all, man, hey Claymore, listen, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I always try to show some love when I stop through. I appreciate you allowing me on for sure. Yeah, just to jump back in, I wanted to touch on that Shakur situation. I think what we're missing here is the fact that Schofield and Shakur already have some prior history, and I was watching on a couple other channels, some content where I was hearing Schofield daddy talk from back in the day, and he was talking about how Shakur touched Schofield up to the body, and how he lured him in, made him think that he wouldn't, you know, he wasn't punched. He got him in range and hit him a few times to that body and hurt him. And like I said, I almost made him crap on himself, according to his daddy. But I think what we will see is something similar to that, because at this point, I think Shakur already know Schofield's tactics, and, you know, especially you done spar somebody, you kind of have a tendency of what they like, what they do, what they don't like. So I think what you'll see is an attack to that body. I think you will see a masterclass of counter punching. Schofield now his best chance is to try to pressure Shakur, but I think, man, we all know Shakur is like the master of not getting hit. He's like one of the best, man. So good luck with that. You know, I don't know what the game plan, but I think his best game plan is to kind of basically do what what's his name? Damn.
Ray.
The guy that he ran from, man. He said he was
Taylor Santos.
Taylor Santos. Yeah, I think that's probably his best bet is try to wait for the counter, try to help counter, but trying to come in, you're gonna get picked apart, made look like you're an amateur, man.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see what he's willing to do, how much he's willing to risk. He's Shakur, like how much can be willing to risk in this fight? Because like I said, I have no qualms with the fact that he's gonna win this fight more than likely. I'm favoring him to win this fight, but how is he gonna win this fight? I think that's a very important thing for Shakur right now.
Yeah, I like what Keem said, man. Sponsored by Reebok, bro.
For sure. Shout out to Keyshawn, shout out to Reebok, shout out to Shakur. Ronald said that's what sparring is for. They obviously recognize the trick by Shakur. Hopefully have a strategy to avoid that. I think so too, Rollo. I think what you're saying there is super relevant. That's what sparring is for. You know what I mean? And I think that they're taking a lot of that experience they have with him in sparring into this fight. And I know people say sparring is just sparring, but
it's data. It's data, man.
It's data.
Right. It's data that you hold on to. And it helps in every way. Whether it's you self-analyzing, your future opponent analyzing, it's all data.
So let me ask you guys something. I'm hearing the likes of Terrence Crawford. I'm hearing the likes of Andre Ward, Clarissa Shields, and the list goes on. I'm hearing a bunch from them guys and females. They saying that Shakur is the real deal, man, and talk about how he's the best. I heard Crawford say he's the best at 135. Like, and I know that he gets in the ring with Crawford. He spars with Crawford. They work out with Crawford. So just getting that take just from one of the best, hey man, that's saying something to me. And that just tell you how cerebral that Shakur is and how many levels that he have to him just to get that respect from Bud and for Bud to say that. You know what I mean? Right. I know that's his little bro, but I'm at the same time, he's not the only one I done heard that from. So I take that in consideration too.
When you ask that, that's a great point and a great take, because a lot of people don't realize, and I'll give the same accolade to Tank. I'll give the same accolade to the other five, actually, just them two right now. Maybe even Keyshawn. A lot of times, when a fighter has to reach for adversity, that's when we see their best, right? We find, and also we'll find out if that fighter is going to step to the plate or they're going to sit there and shell up. Just talking about the fighters that we talked about today, I hate to say it again. When when Teo fought Kambosos, man, that knockdown, though he got his knockdown back, shout out to Raul Green, yes he did, he still lived in that fight in his head from that knockdown from the first round throughout that fight. He had moments, but Kambosos, to me, dominated that fight, man. It was just like, he was surprised and he took his heart. And a lot of times that can happen. So it depends on the championship pedigree. You know what I mean? What goes through your head as these things happen? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's a good observation. And I was saying the same thing, man, because when I saw him fight Josh Taylor, I didn't see him fight Kambosos the same way. And I'm just like, why you didn't fight like this against Kambosos? Like, where was this TO at? You know?
Right.
And
I think he thought he was going to run him over. That's why.
Yep. Yeah, the wrong game plan.
Let me bring in Too Rich into the conversation for sure, man. I know you've been saying that. Hold on. Salute to Too Rich, Mr. Irish.
What's going on, Clay Ray panel?
What up, good, man? We're doing good.
Salute.
Man, I want to give you my take on. I heard y'all talking about the Shakur and Schofield, man. Look, man, it's on the table. It's an upset, man. It's on the table, man. And let me tell you why. And a lot of people might not get this. It's because of Schofield's father, man. He's going to instill in Schofield's mind to come in there and break Shakur's jaw. Schofield's going to come in the fight on hypnosis. He got all that Mama Schofield. He got all that energy. He got everything that he can bring to that fight. You see what I mean? In the first 3 punches, he need to throw a haymaker. You see what I mean? He got to pull a Ryan Garcia. You fighting an elite boxer. You cannot sit there and try to box with him. He's going to have to break down Shakur's structure. He's going to get close. Shakur's going to back up. He's going to have to pull a Sean Porter. Head down. Come in, jab until you get to Shakur's body. You're going to have to come up with your head. Bump his chin with your head. Grab his arm. Take him to the ground. Do anything that he could do to fluster Shakur. We never seen Shakur flustered. We seen him move away from punching, but we haven't seen anybody really tag Shakur. But how I think the fight is going to go down is that he's going to catch Shakur with a punch. And once he catch Shakur, I think Shakur is going to be activated. And I think that's when we'll see that elite Shakur Stevenson. Once he get mad, once he get touched, you see what I mean? And I got it on the board that it's in the air that it's an upset, but I got Shakur stopping him in the late rounds.
Ooh, I like the handle. That's actually how I was seeing it. I just couldn't break it down like that. Thanks for painting that picture, bro. That was dope.
Yeah, that could be. That can well enough happen. You know, I just know his dad don't. He said he don't want that Shakur trick you to come in to get close and try to hit that body. So I think his game plan, his daddy game plan is going to be, hey, don't get close to him to where he can touch your body. And I think that's where he's going to mess up at in that game plan. But like you said, he need to get grimy with him. He need to
I like that. I like that approach. I like that take, man. I'm not going to lie to you, man, because I think if he sits there and tries to compete with Shakur and Shakur's level of what Shakur does, he's going to get schooled. He has to know that his advantage and what he has to really test is going to be Shakur's ability, his durability. Test him, frustrate him, like you said, hit him with a lot of shots to the body, man. Discourage that man's movement and discourage all that elusiveness he has. Try to slow him down, make him a standstill opponent or a very slow opponent. If you can hurt him to the body, I think you can have a lot of success in this fight against him. Man, stopping him late in the fight, I kind of like that, man. That'd be crazy. That's definitely the performance that Shakur needs. I think Shakur knows that he's inside the ring with somebody who wants to brawl him and who wants to attack him that way. And I think he kind of likes that. I think he wants that. Shakur is getting a chance to show that real dog he got in him, because he always says that, you know, he has a real dog in him that people don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch him bring that out. I think Schofield's definitely going to give him the stage to do that.
Yeah. And one more touch on that. What I also want to recognize is the problem is Schofield has to listen to his corner. If he just goes in there and he just starts going wild west in the ring, that could be bad for him. If he listens to his corner and he takes the advice and follows the game plan, he has a very good opportunity, as you said, to Rich. Like those are great elements of the fight. But if he doesn't, he just goes in there and willy-nillys, and we'll find out the hard way. He'll find out the hard way when it ends. It can end for him very early or very late. You know what I mean?
Salute to everybody. Wait, hold on 1 second. Salute to everybody in the building, man. 66 people in the building. I appreciate it. Please remember to hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, take a moment to go ahead and do that as well. I appreciate you guys in the building. I don't know who I cut off, but you know, stage is yours.
I just think he's gonna come in there with a game plan to really attack Shakur. But if he can't get the job done, if he can't stop him, I think he's gonna gas. And that's why I say a late stoppage. And I think that's when Shakur really is gonna shine. Now, for Schofield, a lot like Sean Porter, man. Sean Porter was in every fight, bro. He was in every fight to the end. And I think Porter is a better fighter than Shakur, than Schofield. But I think Schofield is a more accurate puncher than Porter. So I give Schofield that chance. But if he don't get it done by the 6th round, I think he's gonna gas. And I think that's when Shakur really is gonna shine.
So that Ray, what I was gonna say was, you know, just like what my guy said, Schofield got ass. But see, I'm thinking about how he got dropped. How many times that last fight? 3? Was it 3?
Twice?
One time.
One time Schofield got dropped, or was it twice?
I thought it was
once. It was once. Yeah.
Yeah, he got rocked. That's what it was.
Right.
He fell in the corner from the seat. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Okay, so you know, and like you said, he got to listen to his corner, man. And I don't think at this level, you know, compared to his like what I saw in that last fight, I don't think with him going out there, he can't afford not to listen to his corner in this fight right here. It's imperative that he listen to his corner from the beginning to the end, because one slippage against Shakur, and I say this right here, I told you it's gonna be a masterclass. I can see I really can see Shakur really knocking this kid out. And the reason why I said that is because I'm looking at the temperament of Shakur and how he's really itching to get a knockout just to prove himself. I think, man, he's gonna be going balls to the wall, laying it all out there, looking to knock this kid out to send a message. And
Oh God.
you know what I mean, trying to and not listening to your corner, going out there trying to do what you did against that last guy and getting rocked and getting dropped. You can't afford that, Doc. I think Shakur gonna finish him if that happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight, man.
I think the little subtle things that Shakur do is going to be too much for him, like, you know, the control of the distance and, you know, just the experience, you know, on the whole. I think, and the skill too. I think it's just going to be too much for him. I don't think he had never been in there with a fighter at the level of Shakur Stevenson, you know. It's like he's just getting out of the prospect stage, you know, and I think it's going to show.
It is what it is. But guys, I am about to cut it short in a minute. I'm gonna get me something to eat, get ready for this other live I'm about to get on. If you guys want to do your closing statements, I appreciate all you guys for being up here today. It's a little bit of a shorter show than normal, but still was a good one, man. We still talked about a lot of good stuff. We didn't get really talk about Andy and Keyshawn and things of that nature. I was kind of interested in everybody's perspective on that point as well. But I don't know if anybody wants to tap into that at all, but you know, it is about that time.
Well, I'll tap into it just briefly. You know, Andy Cruz is one of those fighters, you know, he's gonna try to do everything he can to try to finish the opponent. I know Keyshawn done got levels away from the amateurs, and I think him thinking he can do the same thing to Keyshawn at this level, at this point of time, Keyshawn a lot stronger, a lot wiser. I think it's best that if he wanna try to get some get back, is either try to catch him now. You can't wait until later to try to get him at once he getting into his man strength and getting wiser. So if he want to get him, he better get him now. And that's all I got to say about that.
Man, he ain't gonna get him now. I don't think he's gonna get him now. I think the people around Keyshawn got too much betting on his success and betting on these big fights that can be made. But Andy, keep talking that ish, keep pushing the line. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing. Fight. He got a big fight coming up on this card coming up on the Diego Pacheco, Steve Nelson card. It turns out he's going to be on that undercard fighting a real game opponent. So we'll see what he does, man, for sure.
I think I don't think Keyshawn need to fight. And how many fights Andy Cruz got? 4 fights?
4 fights, man.
Yeah, I mean, if Keyshawn wins the belt, why is he fighting Andy Cruz? You know, it's some unifications that could be done. You know, I think it's a good fight, but I would say let Andy Cruz get 2 or 3 more fights under his belt. I'm not as a believer in Andy Cruz like a lot of people are. I think he drops one probably within his next couple of fights. But I do think if Keyshawn win a belt, him and Shakur gonna fight. I don't. Keyshawn's personality. Now one of them are 140 yet. Now one of them need to go out there with no Sabriel Matias and all them people, man. They not no 140 fighters yet. Shakur just getting used to the power at 135. I think Keyshawn has the balls to go to 140, but what you rushing for? You know, why you rushing? So now you're gonna have Keyshawn, Shakur, Lomachenko, and Tank, man. They big guy gotta fight. They're gonna have to fight. They're gonna have to fight. Yeah, I think they're gonna fight. I think Keyshawn's personality is just he's gonna fight. Keyshawn's gonna initiate it, and Shakur gonna have to respond, and we're gonna get a big fight. It's gonna be
probably a lot of drama, right? Probably gonna
yeah.
It's gonna be a divorce. It's definitely gonna be a divorce in that.
Definitely.
And Keyshawn's going to initiate it. I already knew that. I didn't want to say it because Clay, that's Clay boy. So yeah, Keyshawn
I don't care, man. What? Let's do it, man.
You know
Ain't my boy like
that,
man. You guys need to fight each other. I'm pushing for the fight. I'm just saying if you're not going to fight and you dead set, and that's not what you're going to do, don't hold the division up. You know what I'm saying? Be honest and be honorable to the division. If you're going to really carry it that way, then one of y'all got to get out the division and allow great fighting to happen. Salute, Bruce Gas. Salute.
It's going to happen. Just, you know what I mean?
Because the sad part about it, Tank ain't going to fight them guys, man. He's not going to fight them, so they're going to have to fight each other. Right. He might got a better chance of fighting Keyshawn because I think that's a better style matchup. But even if Tank were to beat Keyshawn, that don't show me anything about what he would do to Shakur. Because I still think Shakur is just the more elite fighter, you know. But I do think Keyshawn is a better matchup for Tank because Keyshawn gonna come forward, you know. But I don't think Tank fight now one of the guys. I think he fight Ryan Garcia. They figure it out, and maybe one other fight. That's it, man.
When you say a better matchup for Tank, do you mean an easier fight?
Yeah, I think if I'm Tank people, I'm going after Keyshawn before I go after Shakur. Because Keyshawn coming forward, he's gonna give you an opportunity to knock him out. I can see Tank slipping one of Keyshawn punches and catching him with an uppercut. Tank might can't get that close to Shakur. He's short. Shakur gonna be stepping back. That's why they don't want to fight him. That's why they don't want to fight him.
Controlling that distance. That's what I think.
But Keyshawn trying to knock something out, which you're gonna put him in a position to be knocked out.
And he slips a lot too. He sees a lot. I think Keyshawn
he's a great boxer, but I would have to favor Tank for the experience. I would have to favor Tank against Keyshawn.
When I look at boxers, right, sometimes I compare their eyesight to like running backs in the NFL. Believe it or not, you know what I mean. You have to have that vision, and I think Tank and Keyshawn have a very a good vision to be able to turn their heads, keep it countered, and be able to see things at the peripherals and able to counter and land shots that even putting their heads down and with shots on the button, timing and everything. I think those guys are very reluctant to catch each other, believe it or not, on some of those shots. That's why I think this Keyshawn and Tank fight is a much more action-packed fight, like you're saying, than a Shakur Tank fight. You're right.
Yeah. To me, I think that Shakur would be a fight that Tank most definitely want to avoid because he know, and I was looking at some numbers, and I looked at one of the Tank fights, and that's compared to I compared Shakur fight. Hell, it was a fight, man. They threw the same amount of punches, landed the same amount of punches. So a lot of people talk about Shakur not being active, but Tank was not active as well. So I think he want to stay away from a fighter like that. Tank need a fighter that comes forward, that push the pace, that he can catch in between shots. He don't want to be he don't want a fighter where he have to, go toe for toe, because it's a good chance that he might lose that round considering he don't throw that many punches. So, he'll throw him if he got a fighter that comes at him like that he don't respect their power. I think he'll throw some punches, but a person that can beat him, that's tactful in there, that's very cerebral in there, I think he want to stay away from those fighters. So I think Keyshawn is tailor made for a guy like more like for Tank. That's an easier fight for him.
So with the style that Tank has, do you think Keyshawn having a Bud's type book? I think he fights just like Bud. And I think Bud's very hard to beat, right? Do you think that gives a lot for Keyshawn's side? Because that's just my opinion. I think that's an interesting fight because you don't know actually how it's going to play out with the styles. I think those styles are very contrary.
Well, see, how you going to take? See, so this is what Bud do. What Bud do is he take away that jab, and how he take away that jab. If you're a right-handed fighter, he switch orthodox, a southpaw, to take away that jab. If you're a left-handed, fight. He stayed orthodox. So he
Yeah.
switches up, but what he do, he take that jab away from you at first, like he did Earl Spence. He took that jab away from you. So if Keyshawn is not able to do something like that, being able to give Tank different looks, then I think it's going to be a tough task. Even though he has some qualities of Bud Crawford, but I saw in a couple fights where, you know, it was kind of, he showed me something to where I was like, I can't think exactly what fight that was, but he was in a good brawl.
Pedraza.
Who was
Pedraza?
Yeah, Pedraza. Yeah, he was in a good battle with Pedraza, and I seen a few holes up in there, and I think
the first 2 rounds, it was a good. I think Pedraza just got gassed out, man. He came down for 140, and I think he got gassed out. He was
That's what it was. It was a good fight, but I agree. I think Pedraza was definitely a little light in the ass, pause. You know what I'm saying? And I think that did affect. And I think that's why I'm be real with you. I think he took that fight just to bring the year in, just off the strength of the back of that 9-year-old Bright fight and all that nonsense that was going on. He allowed the matchmakers to handle that and give him that tune-up. But he got hands-on with Miguel Madueno and Gustavo.
Oh, yeah.
Those are legitimate. Those are legitimate. Like, you think Pedraza, all right, that's cool. F Pedraza. Take Pedraza off my damn. Bring Miguel Madueno, bring Gustavo Limos. Y'all think I'm playing, and that's where he just really just, you know, he bought into the process and bought into the system that Bob Arum had in front of him, and bought into obviously what Bomac said, but ultimately he brought it full circle with that Madueno and that Gustavo Limos fight.
Right.
Hey, and you gotta think about this too now. Tank is gonna wait in his last 14 fights. You know, Tank only had one first round knockout, and that was over a guy with 4 fights. He has 4 total inside of 5-round knockouts, none over notable guys. So most of his wins is coming 6 rounds and later. Who you think got a better chance to gas out between Shakur or Keyshawn? I would think Keyshawn's activity is going to give him a little bit more chance to gas out in those later rounds when Tank ready to come on. Because Tank ain't going to come on till he feel the loss of power. I think Shakur's style is going to allow Shakur to keep his power later. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not saying that it guaranteed that Tank beats Keyshawn. Don't get me wrong. I just think he got a better chance to beat Keyshawn.
Yeah,
I agree. You know.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's close it out. Y'all show some love, say something closing out, and we're gonna move on.
Hey, a lot of good boxing coming up, man. I'm excited about it, man. And you know, shout out to Clay and Ray, man. Let me come up, and shout out to panel.
No doubt, man. Oh yeah, man. That's Steve Nelson, Diego Pacheco matchroom card coming January 25th. Big sleeper card. Sleeper. You guys, if you watch that lineup on that card, man, very interesting. But I'll pass it on to COE.
Yeah, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Salute to Ray, Clay. Man, I appreciate you guys allowing me to get on here, man, and spit some of this stuff that I be having on my brain, bro. I be watching boxing all the time and checking you guys out as well, man. So salute. If y'all want to make some money, put your money on Shakur. Put 500, 300, whatever you got. Put it on Shakur, and you're gonna make some bread. I'm out.
All right. Salute to both of you guys, man. Thanks for being on the panel, man. All right, Ray, another one in the bag, man. Did it again, man. Another great boxing build. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who showed up in the building. I do a roll call, but I'll be here all day. But shout out to Real Prison Talk with Tommy, 2 Cents, always here. Roz Cloud, of course. Anonymous. Salute Anonymous. I ain't seen you in a minute, man.
Yeah. Anonymous in the building. Yes, sir.
Rollo Green for show. Mr. Lightning in the building. Salute. Bruce Gas Boxing. Always good to have a scholar come in. You know, I ain't seen in a minute. Echo, man. I hope everything's good with Echo. I might send him a text today. Just make sure he's on point. Salute to Hen Dog, the fearless one. Salute to the wifey for showing some support in the channel today. Getting you guys off your tail to hit that like button. You know what I mean? Salute to all the new subscribers today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take an opportunity to go ahead and do that as well. Hit the like button as well. Secret Dance Move, salute to you as well, man. Shout out to everybody who put some color in the chat today, man. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Charles Edward Cheese, man. You know what I'm saying? The Infinite forever sponsor of this channel, man, who's always who's always helped this channel and every chance he gets, man. I appreciate it, man. Fighting Word with Bangs, salute to you guys, man. It's been a good one, man. A great boxing conversation. You want to close it out, Ray?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna close it out with this. Y'all be very, very wary of this this David Benavidez and David Morell fight. I just realized something. They're a week away from the fight that Diego Pacheco's fighting, which is crazy, right? Jose Benavidez being the head trainer in both corners, he's dealing with 2 training camps at once. So that's going to play a part. When Clay asked something about training coaches, that might play a part, y'all. Just letting y'all know. So I want to throw that out there.
That's a little gem, man, for sure, man. Pay attention to that for sure. For sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Peace, Bravo.
Y'all know what it is. Y'all know how we carrying it. It's your boy Ray. It's your boy Rain. It's that ATP Combat Media Show. And at this point,
we out.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they want to come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies, all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Water all blood like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else. I had to set them straight. Yeah, I had to ball, so I had to renovate. I know they hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, I had to elevate. Ooh, yeah, why they wanna put me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down. Yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow down. Ooh, yeah. I see the flashing lights. Make sure the fashion right. Yeah, I'm in my bag tonight. Yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah. This the highlights for the view. You get to have it all, no need to choose. First, let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top. Yeah, I had to elevate. They hate when you elevate. Elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. Elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, I had to elevate.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight.
They hate when you elevate.